Okay, now. Hey, we got numbers.
Hey, we got ClevelandMoto podcast, episode number 485. Light them up, boys. Yeah, mine doesn't. Excellent. Yeah, the delay is fantastic right now. I got to tell you, it's about a 10-second delay, so keep that in mind. So don't expect anything magnificent. Yep. That is it. We have mic check 1, 2, audio vector. Thank you very much, sir. We're in. Victor. That is happening. Victor. So Black Friday is here. Black Friday is upon us. I don't know if anybody got their deals. I got one Black Friday deal. Then we'll go around and see if anybody else did. At Lowe's, they had the giant 27-gallon totes for $6.47. So I got 10 totes, because I use those things for everything. That is my organizational secret, is buy the shelving units that the totes slide onto, and then everything goes in the totes. Make a note on the side of the tote, says exactly what's in the box. All my camping gear, all my tents, all the sleeping bags and stuff that we have loads of. No more of it just, free range in my basement. Everything's going to be in the back of Dan's trailer, just ready to go to the next adventure.
Tip, I found out about storing stuff like that.
Yeah.
They sell 2 things, capsaicin tape and capsaicin spray.
Oh, it keeps the animals out.
And it keeps all the animals out of your shit.
That's a great idea.
I've been using capsaicin spray in my car since the squirrels chewed halfway through my wiring harness. Hasn't happened again.
That I can understand. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. The HFC Tom just signed in. Hi from T&B, Tom and Becky. Can you feed the cat? Sure, we can feed the cat. No problem. Must talk about morons going to the OSU game tomorrow. Wait, NVM? What's NVM?
Michigan versus
NVM. I don't know what, yeah. Anyway, NVM.
Last time I dropped my daughter off down there today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because she goes to school, you know, and she's going back, and all the kids are excited about the game tomorrow. Yes, it'll be all idiots, but for the kids, it's fun.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. I guess Nomad says that the first 25 people got a free bucket worth up to $150. I don't know what the bucket is, but it's probably had presents in it. Oh. Probably had prizes in it, just like that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So just to bring people a little bit up to date on what's going on, anybody else get a Black Friday deal that they bought that was a sore dick deal?
Yeah, well, Black Friday started 5 to 7 days ago, so all the shit I ordered for Black Friday came today.
Oh, it did? It all showed up.
I got a new receiver for our surround system, and I got this awesome Pixel 9 Pro.
Oh, geez.
With like a terabyte of storage in it.
Dang. Oh, that's fun. I also did get that ridiculous hard drive that you had me order. Oh, yeah. That showed up. So that's the shop. Good. We got that, so we can put all of our podcasts on one thing. Yeah. Pretty exciting about that.
I passed probably about 25,000 people trying to Black Friday shop when I was leaving Columbus today at this outlet center thing. There was literally a 5-mile
Tangier outlets?
Yes. Yeah. 5-mile long traffic jam to get into the outlets. And then because, I'm not going to wait in that line. I'm going to get into the left lane.
Up. Yeah. Oh, you're going to blast past
the way up there. Yeah. And then what happens is all those lanes get jammed up. So there was literally like 20,000 people trying to get into a 1-lane exit to get where 25 other thousand people had already occupied all the stores.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not proud mall, so they're not, those deals aren't great.
No. Hi from Steubenville, Ohio.
Steubenville.
And
Scott
happy
Dennis.
Thanksgiving from Scott Dennis. Yeah.
Right on. Super duper cool, man.
Happy Thanksgiving to all the listeners.
To everybody, if you celebrate. Today's Indigenous Peoples Day, by the way.
Yes.
Yep.
And listeners, please tell us what you're drinking.
Yes.
Of course.
Also a good thing. I'll tell you from here at the home office, this is a Baja Blast from Taco Bell with about 4 ounces of rum in it, and it makes a perfectly cromulent cocktail. Yeah, that's just like
keeps things rumming.
Well, isn't that like a variation of Mountain Dew?
It is. I think it's. I was told just the other day that the secret ingredients in Baja Blast are Mountain Dew, Blue Powerade, and Sprite, and that's what makes. Baja
That's
Blast.
A mixer, basically. I mean, so that was the whole point.
That's the idea. Yeah. It is. It's literally it's a mixer.
That's why it's green.
That is why it's green. Yeah, that is perfect. That perfect aquamarine green. Speaking of which, I was just in La Paz over the last weekend, and our friends Bailey's, Steve Bailey and Stina Bailey from San Diego, and their wingman Vu Tran. We met them down in Cabo and worked our way up to La Paz, and we spent 4 beautiful days in La Paz, Mexico. It is gorgeous, and it does not have the tourist explosion that is Cabo/Cancun. It killed me how far you could go in an Uber in La Paz for $10. It is crazy. And in a lot of Mexico, if you go in there and you're like, okay, I want to have a beer, the exchange rate pesos to dollars, our rule is if you are in a place that takes dollars, you're probably spending too much. If you go somewhere and they're not familiar with taking dollars, you're probably going to get normal pricing. And we were paying the hotel minibar. The beers in the minibar were only $3 a piece. And that tells you, like, hotel minibar beers are like, $10, $12 a piece. Nope, our fancy ass hotel we were in, hotel minibar, $3. Totally fine.
Nice.
Yeah, we cleaned it out. So we had a good time. It was a lot of fun. We were down there for an event called Mexotica, which is exotica music, tiki stuff, but all like Mexican bands and Mexican DJs. There were dudes from Germany there. There was all kinds of cool, really cool vibe. Got to meet a lot of people. Spoke more German in 4 days there.
You see a lot of Germans in Mexico.
They like it, man. We saw a lot of Germans living in 4x4 F-350 pickup trucks with the big campers on top. Several of them parked in public parking areas adjacent to the water in beautiful campsites you couldn't pay to be in, but because it's public parking, it's free. And a whole lot of people. And our favorite was a couple where he was from East Germany, the former East Germany, and she was not. And they got together and they bought their rig up in Canada. So they bought an F-350 with a big old camper top on top of it, 4x4 all set up for the whole world. One guy that I talked to has been doing that for 8 years. He does not have a home address, and his rig is registered in South Dakota because they're friendly about that, like out-of-state registration and
Dan
that kind
from
of stuff.
Dan Hoshtick says, "The Germans."
The Germans, yes.
We need a
yeah, good stuff.
GSG.
Yes, we do. We do that as a
Somebody else says they thought the Germans ran to Ecuador.
Argentina, right?
Yeah, Argentina.
Yeah.
Well, it said Ecuador. So
Well, I think as
right.
well. Oh,
As
that was
well.
my favorite documentary, man. Hunting Hitler was the greatest documentary. 4 seasons, man. Oh, I love that. They followed that fucker all
Really?
over the world. Oh, it's great.
Oh.
They in Argentina.
Allegedly.
No. In Argentina, there were literally like the Fourth Reich building up with full things. They had like in 1960, they had like control panels that if anybody was breaking through the gate, it would tell them exactly what part of the gate was being
really?
it's insane.
That's interesting.
And they were still developing like Nazi type weapons, like high, like technology, like radio wave, like weird shit.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure they found his body
Well, let me put it
under
this
the
way.
Reichstag.
There's a German village in Argentina that has like 10,000 all traditional speaking Germans with
Cuckoo clocks.
It's insane.
somebody said, "What kind of motorbikes did you see in Mexico? Anything interesting?" And that comes
Yes.
from listener Merritt Waters.
Merritt Waters. Yeah. So we were taking one of those perambulations after having a cocktail and
Way
a
to
meal
bring
and
that
stuff.
back on track, Merritt.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep,
Thanks,
yep,
Merritt.
sorry.
Well done. She's watching out for us. We were walking past all these little grocery store bodegas and everything else, and I just kind of stumbled as I'm walking by, and I saw in the window a bunch of motorbikes. And this is at a grocery store, a bodega, not a big bodega, like a super small shop. And there were several electric scooters, a couple of gas scooters, and of interest, a 200cc Vento actual sport bike. And based on the pesos to dollar conversion, it was $1,899 US dollars. So you could buy a 200cc Vento, Chinese, obviously, Chinese 200cc 5-speed transmission motorcycle for under $2,000 on the Mexican economy, because that's what we saw. We didn't see Harleys and that kind of shit. We saw. That's how you know you're not in the tourist area anymore. Is you don't see 900cc crotch rockets, you don't see BMW Grand Touring bikes. You see metric shit tons of 125cc to 200cc motorcycles. And we did see a ton of those.
Did you see any adventure bikes like guys maybe had ridden all the way down that far?
So we saw one a couple of people that we had seen in one location and then saw them in another location later. And the Baileys had run into these folks. And I guess there were 5 or 6 of them that were doing a schlep. They were all on BMW GSAs. So they were all on BMW GS big bikes. And that was a gaggle of about 6 of those that were just kind of wandering around. And
I like that GSA body kit thing that you sent.
Oh, that was sick, right?
It was really cool.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, a lot of good stuff. So it was really fun down there. Had a really good time. I strongly recommend La Paz for those who want to have a not so touristy, like not heavy on the resorts, more chilled out kind of a Mexican adventure.
On like the vacation budget spectrum, is it?
No, it's pretty chill. So once you get your ass there.
I don't know if you know this about Phil,
Yeah.
but on the money thing, usually Phil's not like up here. He's trying to do.
We're always shooting.
Well, no, I know, but it's a whole different country.
La
Like, you know what I'm
Paz
saying?
is pretty affordable. It's not dirt affordable. It's not like, hey, scary Mexico.
Right.
It's still there's 270,000 people that live in La Paz. So
Phil can probably go to Mexico for what most people could go to Pittsburgh for.
pretty close. In fact, a lot of times we spent nights in Pittsburgh that cost us way more than staying at a nice place in Mexico.
That's where I stayed in the Murder Hotel.
In Pittsburgh?
In Pittsburgh, yeah. It's got some shady shit out there, man.
We had a really good time. It was super fun. The definitely fun for all. Fresh, you got stuck in the snow today.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah, Winter Wonderland out east. We went and got our Christmas tree.
Wait, before you talk, how much snow do we have here?
It was zero.
Okay, continue.
Not a measurable amount.
Three flakes.
Continue, please.
3 flakes.
We left at about 10 o'clock. We went as soon as we got, I would say, to Mentor, Painesville.
Yeah.
There was snow. And I was like, ooh, this is pretty. This is pretty. So we went a little further. By the time we got to the Christmas tree place in Thompson, shout out to Emerald Christmas Trees. That was pretty cool. A little mom and pop place. There was at least a foot. So that was fun getting the tree and having all that snow and everything and throwing snowballs. I mean,
You're this true Christmas spirit. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then we decided to go ahead. I wanted to go to our house in Conneaut because I had a couple of hanging chads there. I was like, did I turn the water off? Did I turn the furnace down? Like, we need to go check on the house. We're halfway there. Let's just go up and check on it. Good thing I did because I turned the furnace off.
Oh, all the way off.
Yeah. And all that plumbing that I did probably would have frozen broke if I hadn't.
If you hadn't gone back and turned it on.
But we got stuck in the driveway as we pulled. I mean, it was pouring down snow when we got there. It was like, wow, they got a lot more snow here. And I'm like, man, they have like 2 feet of snow here. And then when we pulled in, I was like, boom. And I made a nice little snow wall.
Right. Yeah.
And started spinning. I'm like, oh, that's far enough. And then I tried to back out and brr.
You used your non-existent snowplow?
Yeah.
Right.
The bumper.
Yeah. And
so I got stuck. And so that proceeded to, an hour and 20 minutes of digging the car, jacking it up because it buried your 21 inches of snow on top of mud, like wet, warm ground.
Right.
So then it dug into the wheels. So I jacked up the front and put a board under it, jacked up the back, put a board under it, had to get them out of the ruts.
Yeah.
And then Piper, once I jacked it up, we were able to dig all the snow out from under it. And I finally got it out of the driveway again.
Good training.
A touch and go turned into a touch more than a touch and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. You're proper stuck.
They had 21 inches. It seemed like more than that. And they're supposed to maybe get 40 inches in.
Oh man!
So
Conneaut, Erie, and then we're driving home, and I was like, "Oh, we got to get on the highway because they're going to shut the highway down."
Yeah, probably.
So I'm passing people. I'm driving a little bit recklessly, and Peggy's, ooh. I'm like, "You don't understand. All of a sudden, there could be a cop up here taking us off the road, and then we got to drive back roads or whatever to get home, and I don't want to do that." So it was bad snow all the way till back to about Mentor, and then all of a sudden, whoosh, gone. I mean, we went from driving in a whiteout at 25 miles an hour at best, and then it just opened up, and now there's no snow here. It just boggles my mind.
Well, that's what people that don't live here or don't understand what we're talking about. Lake effect, you hear it, you don't really understand it. It could be like literally the whole state has nothing, and then if you're to the right of the lake, you get that. That's insane.
They're getting that, a lot of that.
The day that I went to get my Africa twin with Oscar, we had to drive through all of that going up to Buffalo, kind of in that general area. And then I was towing the bike home in my 5x7 trailer with my Honda Accent doing 30 miles an hour with 800 people behind us because there was only one lane open and I wasn't going to go.
That was you? Son of a bitch.
There was a car in the ditch at least every 2 miles all the way back home.
Yeah. Our friend Kyle spun it in Detroit. So she was up there, and I guess they got a few cars up in Detroit got tangled up, and she ended up going the wrong way on the interstate. So yeah, it's real. It's out. It's happening. Whether or not winter is here.
I will say the car handled well. I mean, we have that new Sportage. It's just a little lower. Sportage, yes. It's just a little lower to the ground than mine. But I mean, it still blasted through 21 inches of snow, no problem. And I just screwed the pooch trying to back up, and it like slid off, and there's like a little hump, and then it sat down on the snow, you know? And I like tried to, I got out of the car, and I was like, you couldn't rock the car. No. It was just,
Well, speaking of which, and speaking of, you know, snow stuff, you know, timber sled, we talked a lot about timber sleds and the timber sled concept.
Oh, this day did totally make me miss my snowmobile. Yeah, but
I'm absolutely certain of that.
But that's for the best.
The timber sled was fully purchased by Polaris.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of cool. So that means that innovative product that people really love and enjoy is not going away. It's no longer just like a little niche market.
But do you think Polaris will add the middle part themselves?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
Yeah.
That is a very, very good question. So, but it is nice to know that timber sled will continue to rock on, but with some deeper pockets behind it.
Yeah, major marketing.
Major marketing.
Have you seen the videos of the kids running the timber sleds down like a unfrozen lake or like a river?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They're just
aquaplaning.
Yeah, they just get the belts with the bigger teeth on them.
Yeah.
And they rip, and they're like riding on the snow, and it's like it's cold and stuff, but the rivers haven't frozen. Okay. And they hit it, and they're just ripping the river like, like nothing.
It is like it's meant to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, it's a wild vehicle. It's an absolutely insane thing. And, good for anybody that can get one, because that's pretty cool. Yeah. I hear some noises upstairs, and I was like, I think we're the only ones in the house. I'm pretty sure. I know there's a cat upstairs. That's Tom says to feed the cat. We know about that, right? It does feel like a big cat. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
There's not like there's 40 guns down here,
right? Exactly. just letting you know, right? You're probably safe if you don't go in the basement.
Yeah. Just leave now. We excuse you.
Probably a good idea to just leave now. So yeah, that's super fun. We have a bit of listener mail that I absolutely wanted to read because it's awesome. Kathleen Zenobile Pfeiffer, which, by the way, didn't know we had a female listener.
Also, what a fucking name, man.
Yeah, Kathleen Zenobile Pfeiffer or Pfeiffer.
That's amazing.
Hi guys, I have an offer for you. We are entertaining offers. If you would consider running a 30-second promo for my new podcast, Two Wheelin' Motor Femmes, I would be very grateful and do the same for you. Of course, mine is new and doesn't have nearly the popularity as yours yet, but I'd love it if you'd use your popularity to give us riding ladies a shout. Oh. On the show, we talk to female motorcycle riders about their experiences since taking hold of the handlebars. No competition with your content, that's for sure. If you'd consider it, I'd drop you the 30-second audio file to your email address. As of now, I don't make any money. In fact, I'm spending a lot of my own. Yeah, we know all about that. And we also support the National Domestic Violence Hotline. But when revenue streams start flowing, we'll be sure to remember our friends. Thanks and stay safe. KZ at twowheelingmotorfemmes.com.
Wait, what was that again?
I'm going to read this out so you guys
twowheelingmotorfemmes.com. I definitely don't think we should give them a shout out. Whatever we do, we should not mention.
We should not mention KZ at twowheelingmotorfemmes.com.
Also, no, don't do that.
And don't send me that file, because then I won't put it in front of
Don't you dare send us that file.
Yeah, don't
to
do that.
ClevelandMoto at gmail.com.
Right, and then don't send it to me after that, because then I won't put it on the front of the podcast.
Exactly, and he won't throw that in there as a free blurb.
No, wouldn't do it.
We would never do that.
No. But just
KZ at twowheelingmotorfemmes, and it's the number 2 wheelin', no G, motorfemmes.com. So we hope you have a ton of success, Kay, because motorcycle podcasting is super fun.
And that's a voice
but we didn't give you a shout out.
Right. But you know what? I'm interested because that's a voice you don't hear very often too much. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that is true. Yeah. There's not enough exposure for women who ride.
Where do they hail from?
I didn't really get that.
Okay.
Yeah, that didn't show up in the ID. So, but I think it's a good thing. And
you know what would be better?
See any more of that.
If they were, anywhere in the area.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Just come on down to the
get out here. Right. Yeah. If you're anywhere in the area.
You can come plug your own podcast.
Well, we said that to the Speed Clams too. So, Speed Clams are always welcome to come up to Cleveland.
Greatest name in the history
Absolutely.
of names.
And we would be thrilled to host the Speed Clams, because that would be super fun to have those ladies on our podcast. Right. That would be fun as hell.
Renee Scherf says the cat.
That is the cat. We hope it's the cat. That is some serious noise going on.
Tom's been giving it some snacks lately.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm going to go check it real quick.
I mean, it was not a small thump.
So an interesting thing I saw, I don't know how I stumbled across this at Dark 30 watching TV, whatever. It was some show, and it may be like a forensic show, and they were talking about pets and how long it takes your pet to eat you. And if you should die in your home, and they were saying that most dogs will wait at least a day. In fact, Labradors will sometimes, they're known for waiting a month. They will have to be on the verge of death before they will eat their owners. But they said cats will start eating your face 30 minutes after you're dead.
I don't know who you are.
No shit.
30 minutes. They said a cat will take a human's head off in 24 hours. The head of its beloved human in 24 hours.
Not the first 24.
Wasn't that fucking beloved?
The first 24 hours. A cat will start eating you 30 minutes after you're dead.
Oh, well.
That's what
I'm
they
dead.
said. That's what they said. If you die, it will. The cat doesn't wait.
So put the cat out before you die.
Right. Make sure you put the cat out.
Well, what I'm saying though is the cat probably understands that you're not there anymore. You're just food at that point.
Are they smarter than
It's
the
also a
dogs?
good way to get rid of some evidence,
Well, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if you shoot a guy in the head, make sure the cat's hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, just leave him there, and always be wary of a man who keeps pigs, right?
Sprinkle some kibbles and bits over there. too.
Right, exactly. Oh my God.
Cologne. Here's a new cologne, Chris. What do you call it? Kibbles. It's
Nibbles and bits.
Catnip all over it.
Right, spray some catnip on it. Yeah.
Tuck it up the nose.
Yeah,
Nostril.
by all means, that's the best way to dispose of a body.
Turn them into a giant Kong.
Have you guys been following the whole KTM mystery?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
KTM is in some stuff right now, man.
But here's the crazy part. right?
Dan says head first, just like a mouse.
Just like a mouse.
But the CEO, before you even get into all the bullshit, the CEO is so wealthy that he could easily save the company and still not even hurt his bank account.
Right. And believe me, there might be some weird reaction. There might be some weird result after CEOs are taking record bonuses and record profits.
Right.
Year after year after year after year. And for a company like KTM, which I believe 3 years ago, we started saying, I don't know if I feel so good about KTM having 70% of their bikes made in China.
Right.
Well, this might be a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Right. This could be a ripple effect. Not exactly sure what it means to everybody out there, but I can tell you that I know that the folks at Bajaj are salivating.
Oh, yeah.
Because on their website, I went to Bajaj Auto's website, and it says, from the first KTM Duke in 2012, KTM India has come a long way and created the premium sports motorcycle segment in India. They are reminding people hard
who built those bikes
about where your KTM came from.
Bajaj is like,
Yeah.
you're the chicken?
Yes.
I'm the chicken hawk.
I'm the chicken hawk, exactly.
I eat chickens.
Let's not forget who built those motorcycles for you.
Right.
Let's not forget who got you that highly profitable mid-size motorcycle market.
You got to see the debate. So because of my Tuano, I got into a whole bunch of groups, like all that kind of shit. So there's all the KTM Duke guys and stuff in there.
Yeah.
And the debates in the forums about which bikes were made in Bavaria or wherever, and there Austria and there is unbelievable. Guys want to stab each other over. You're telling me, fuck you, my bike was not made in India. He's like,
sorry, buddy.
Yeah. It's just,
right on, and this is straight again from Bajaj Auto's website. The Bajaj KTM partnership began in 2007 when Bajaj Auto International Holdings picked up a 14.5% stake in KTM Powersports AG and subsequently launched the brand in India. Bajaj gradually increased its stake to 48%.
wow.
That's a lot. In 2021, the shareholding was simplified when Bajaj swapped 46.5% of its holding to gain a 49.9% stake in PTW. And that PTW is that's the owner. He's the owner of KTM. He's the owner of that group. And that's KTM's.
So they sold all their shares off and bought his share.
Yeah.
Which was 49,
so they own 49.9, giving him a wafer thin margin of ownership.
They want 50.0001.
Well, that's what they'd be happiest with.
Yeah, right.
But so they own 14. So in case you were wondering, before you start ragging on the Indian folks, that 49.9% of the parent company of KTM, MV Agusta, Husqvarna, all that stuff is 49.9% Bajaj. That's significant. And if you don't think that a whole lot of the pieces parts on your very fancy KTM that was probably assembled in Austria came from India, you're probably wrong. Because I think in these conglomerations, yes, the bike may still bear a little sticker on the side that says made in Austria, but I can tell you I have a strong inkling of where 90% of the parts that went into that bike came from. That's the way these things tend to pan out. And even our Zero electric motorcycle that was made in America did not qualify for the federal tax incentives once they made the federal tax incentives mandate that the bike had to have a certain percentage of made in America content. So Zero that's made in America didn't qualify for tax credit because the bike wasn't enough made in America.
I wonder if Giannis applied for that.
I wonder.
Because with the exception of the motor and the two front shocks, everything's made.
Well, that particular incentive was for electric vehicles. Speaking of Zero has now been acquired, thanks to Renee gave us this information today. Zero is now partnered with Zhongshan.
Oh, really? Wow.
Wow. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And Zhongshan's a big company. And also they've partnered with Hero in India.
Okay.
And for those who don't know, Hero is the largest manufacturer of two-wheeled vehicles on this planet. And Zhongshan's got to be a close number 2, I think.
This is just like KTM getting in bed with Bajaj.
It's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. These companies are looking for non-American, non-Western partners to support them in this incredibly lucrative, high output. You know, there are way more bikes in the smallest neighborhood of China than we would have in the largest neighborhood near the United States.
I mean, you're the CEO. You have all this huge stake in the company and all these stock. The best thing that can happen is a hostile takeover from the Chinese or the Indians or whatever.
Yeah, as long as you got something left.
You're going to make out.
Yeah.
The company might not make out. The employees might not make out. The customers but you're going to make out.
I promise it. Yeah, you're going to do that. And it really is. That's a big, big deal when you think about it. Because, you know, for us at our shop, we like Bajaj. We just picture a 150cc scooter, right? That's what we picture. When you say Bajaj, that's what we think of. But that's a very narrow view of what they produce. A very narrow view of what they got going on. And for us, when you say Zhongshan or Zinan, we're still picturing really shitty disposable Chinese scooters. And that is absolutely not the case.
See, that's interesting because like that shows you that people's realities are different.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, you go down there, you say Bajaj, people have all these different things when they're
there's 75 bikes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a really interesting thing. So.
Adam says, now, boys, thanks again for having me.
Yeah, Adam was a great guest, man. We loved having Adam out here. That was
solid
super cool.
dude, man. Solid dude.
Very cool. Very fun having you out here. And
we're all very adamant about that.
Yeah. Pretty serious.
Sorry you missed me, Adam. I wasn't here.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't miss much.
No.
Now, sometimes having a partnership with one of these companies can be scary. Sometimes things can get weird. And to give you an example of that, I will pull up on the screen what I like to call Exhibit A. This is when things get strange. And so you guys, I'm going to throw that up and you guys can tell me what you think about that.
Ooh, me.
Yeah, it kind of hurts to look at.
Looks like a bar stool.
I don't know. I don't hate it.
You don't hate it?
If it's like a pit bike or like if you're at the racetrack and you need to get around, like, you know, if you were at Mid-Ohio and you wanted to go back and forth from your thing, it's not a bad gig, I guess.
I don't like the upswept bodywork in front of the seat.
Or the seat. Who likes to sit with a seat angled like that? That's going to be nuts. Your asshole's going to hate you.
That was designed by SSR.
And I like how the front fairing is just, I think, pieces that were taken off a KTM Duke.
Yeah,
right.
Slapped on there.
Well, it looks like the front end of what do they ride in Ewok?
The speeder bike.
Speeder bike.
It does look like a speeder bike.
You know what else it looks like? It looks like they have a display where they're like showing you it taken apart. Like it's exploded in the front.
Right.
Like,
but they didn't. But all the pieces didn't make it back onto the bike.
No.
Right. That's true. Yeah, that definitely has that kind of a look to it.
I like the wheels. I'll tell you that. That's kind of interesting how it's like, you know, it's a single-sided front swing arm, right?
It's something. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is a single-sided.
And I think it has a single on the back too.
Dished off center.
Yeah, I believe that's an electric machine. That's
says racing in the rim.
Yeah, it says racing on it a lot.
Well, you can't see all of it. It might say racist.
Right. Well, you do remember that on that little KTM 390 I had?
Yeah.
So everywhere on that KTM 390, all over it was the logo that said KTM, prepare to race.
Yeah.
And then when you turn the key on, it would on the display, it would say prepare to race. And I'm like, race what?
Yeah, no, my Aprilia,
Other 390s.
Or 150s.
Right.
my Tuano says ready to race about 146 times on it. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, I didn't add them. They're there.
No, that's Aprilia, man.
Yeah.
That is it.
Well,
Yeah.
you believe that, though.
They want you to remember that you are ready to race, man. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
OSU Caro 76 says, interesting look.
It is an interesting look. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's super, but you're right. There is a single-sided swing arm on the back, and there is a single-sided swing arm on the front on the opposite side.
They were trying to cut cost.
Yeah, well, hey, you're not wrong, right? You're not wrong. That is truly
Saved on the whole rear fender assembly, too.
yeah. Somewhere there's a rear fender.
And like,
it hasn't
is
made
it-
it to the bike yet.
Is
but
there a
somewhere.
headlight? Are we missing the headlight here?
See, again.
I think it's probably a little LED, like a little tiny LED bar. It's
It's like a
electric,
strip,
remember?
yeah.
It's not a. This is not a gasoline powered motorcycle. So yeah, it's pretty interesting, pretty wacky looking. But for sure, that is a strange looking beast.
It almost looks like a piece of gym equipment.
It kind of does. It kind of does.
like
yeah.
Yeah, like an old school exercise bike.
Yeah, like you pull the handlebars towards you while you're pedaling. Yeah, that does.
And then the seat goes up and down as you pedal to exercise your core.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where it gets its electricity.
That's it.
Yeah, you can go further that way.
And if you look like those panels where the feet go, that could be an elliptical.
That could be an elliptical. Just slide like a Nordic track. Yeah, that would be funny.
That's how it's powered.
That's how you do it. That's exactly
Auto
it.
regeneration.
Slide your way to fun.
Comment says, looks like an Aprilia.
It looks. Yeah, it looks.
Hey. No, it does not.
That's just what
Sexy
OSU.
as fuck.
It's
It makes the BMW electric scooter look positively mainstream.
It does.
does.
It absolutely does.
It's normal now.
Well, we're not pushing squares against circles. That's how normal, how average of you. Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty weird bike, man.
I'm surprised they didn't do an ADV type. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that
it's
we're
KTM.
just-
Why doesn't it have knobbies?
Yeah.
I think that we're just seeing the beginning of this. And that's one thing Renee brought up today at the shop. She said that, you know what that's going to do? Having Zero partnered with Hero and with Zongshen, I'm predicting
You can't make this up. Zero, hero.
Zero, hero,
Don't be
Zongshen.
a zero, be a hero. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you ditch the Zero,
like-
get with a Hero, or
It's like
what? Yeah.
Schoolhouse Rock.
Or Zero, got with a Hero, which is what happened.
Oh, Cool J. No, what was his name? Icy Spice? Oh, fuck, whatever that
Well,
guy's
we
name
saw that a few weeks ago when we brought out pictures of the new Zero off-road use only, not street legal bicycle things, right? Like the Suron,
Humble Bee.
bees or whatever. Yeah. Well, you know what? When we were at the shop looking at pictures of those, I kept grabbing all these Chinese products going, okay, which one is this? Because the profile matches one of them. And the one that I pulled up that I was pretty convinced it was a Zongshen. And I was like, okay, well, I guess now we know where that came from, right? So we know how that happened. But this will give Zero probably a $5,000 street legal middleweight electric. Because if they're talking about the Indian market and they're talking about the Chinese market, they're not talking about $23,000 Zero electric motorcycles anymore.
Right.
They're talking about affordable small motorcycles. And that's where our current US market is lacking. There's plenty of people out there selling you a $4,000 or $5,000 electric bike, but they're not DOT and HTSA street legal. They're just toys. But $4,000 or $5,000 is a lot of money for a toy that you can't use as a back and forth to work commuter, until you put a chastity belt on it and say that it doesn't go over 25 miles an hour.
I mean, what would you say you need? You need 65 miles an hour for how many miles?
I'd say 50.
So if you can do 65 for 50 miles an hour, it makes
That's a good commuter.
real attractive.
Yeah, I'd say, because then you'd be able to get back and forth to work at least twice, and or get to work and then run some errands before you get home. And then you got to sleep at night so you can plug it in. So a motorcycle is not a fail for you. A commuter motorcycle is not a fail for you. If you look back at, take your whatever bike you have in your garage. Kromke's got a Vespa 150. And if you look at that Vespa 150 and say, what's the range that you've put on it? What's the maximum distance you've ever ridden that bike in one day? Well, chances are it's probably not a lot more than 60 miles. And
Columbus.
you rode it to Columbus? That is a hike, man. Yeah, that is a hike. Yeah, that's a serious commitment. So, but for most commuter bikes and most city bikes, they're not going to go that far in a day. So probably I'd say if you can go 60 miles an hour or 65 miles an hour for 60 miles, then if you drop it down to 35 miles an hour, you probably get a 100-mile range.
Sure.
And a 100-mile range will sell that. Yeah.
I think so.
People would buy it for a 100-mile range because right now you can do that currently with the Zero FX. So if you have an FX or an FXE or any of those bikes, that bike can.
But you don't have to go 80, 85.
No, Hoffert proves that if you're going 60, you're going to get 90 miles out of that thing. Yeah. Right. So, and for a lot of people, that's enough.
And think about it, like more and more places, you have the ability to plug in. So like at Summit now in the motorcycle parking area, they tapped into one of the light poles. And if you have an electric bike, you can plug in.
Oh, okay.
So if I had a 58 or 60 mile commute, just
and
drive
you could have level 2 charging there.
Yeah. Just plug it in. And,
right.
Hey, so Andrew Cropper says, just popping in. Love the podcast, guys. Hi from Colorado.
Hey.
Andrew Cropper.
Very cool, Andrew Cropper. Badass.
Hi, right back at you.
For reals. That is one of those things that when I consider that the commuter bike segment, I don't want to have an electric motorcycle to ride, as my only bike.
Right.
But if I'm just going to be commuting back and forth to work, okay, there might be a place for that.
And think about it. Like I kind of thought about this too, because like if it's raining and stuff, right? Most of it's belt driven. There's things like not a lot of, you don't have to worry about the rain as much as you would on a normal.
Yeah.
I mean, Phil proved that he could underwater a Zero that one time at band camp.
Nobody, including me, thought that was going to end successfully. I realized that at the best case scenario, the bike would quit working.
Right.
At the worst case scenario, I was going to electrocute my nards. And
everybody in the stream.
And everybody in the river with me, right?
Fish on Phil.
But I was very impressed with how well it did. And at no point did it ever stutter or miss a beat. It went through deep water. It went through deep water that I might not run a 125 or a 150 bike through. So that's
remember that experiment that Andy Goldfine from Aerostitch did where he rode the Zero for a full year and like documented the whole thing? He wrote like a little book about it.
He wrote a book.
And he lives in Duluth, Minnesota. Right. So, I mean, there is, and he's a commuter, a year-round commuter.
Yeah. And he had heating units set up to keep the battery at a temperature where it would still charge.
That just makes me think of us doing our overland at band camp last year. That was so much fun.
It was fun. That's what little bikes are so good at. We drove all the way up and down the stream, the whole way. Yeah. Nick on his, 1960 whatever Vespa.
Yeah, on a classic vintage Vespa, right, with knobbies on it. Yeah. It's fun. I love that kind of stuff. So you guys might remember Tony Summerscales, one of our listeners. He's across the pond. He writes, "Hi, Moto buddies. It's time for another update from across the pond. I'm not going to do the voices. I'm not Bagel. I'm not going to do this. Just accept the fact that it's going to sound like Tony's raised in the Midwest. It's time for another update from across the pond. It's worrying times for the motorcycle industry over here in the UK. 2 major parent companies have gone to the wall, taking down multiple dealerships. There was a large proportion of Harley dealers that closed, but also Japanese and Triumph dealers have closed their doors too. We reported on this. But I didn't think it was this bad. I've heard you speak about the market slowing down, especially for bigger capacity bikes over in the States, and it's all the same over here. And while I'm more of the home gamer when it comes to bike maintenance, cutting off the head of the snake will impact everyone in due course. I took a day off work to attend the UK's biggest motorcycle show last week in Birmingham, and check out what's new. And to be honest, it's not a surprise the industry is in a shit state. Clearly, the customer base is getting older, myself included, and there are not that many new and interesting ideas to attract younger riders. The worst example had to be the Harley-Davidson stand, who had one of the biggest pitches in the show, but was pushing the same old biker lifestyle crap that they've been doing since the 80s and 90s. And seeing a guy on a mobility scooter rolling past wearing his hog cut just about sums it up. For real, man. For real.
I applaud that.
Ride to live, dude. Live to ride. Yeah. Yep, that's it. Geritol for lunch punch. BMW clearly need to get their eyes tested. Their whole company ethos seems to be based on ugly this year. What were they thinking with the new GS 1300 Adventure? MZ were making better looking petrol bikes in the 80s.
Not wrong.
It's true. It's kind of hard to look at.
Dude, I just posted a thing. A company, Poog, PUIG.
Yeah, they make a lot of windshields. They make a lot of body kits.
Yeah, they made a complete kit for the GS 1300 to fix it. To make
agree.
it a super
And it
bike.
looks nice.
It looks fucking
It
beautiful.
looks really
man.
nice. That
Complete
Pure
with
kit.
wings.
Yeah.
Right. With
Delta wings.
Just enough.
active arrow.
Just the proper amount of arrow.
just enough active arrow,
Yeah.
right? It's pretty fun.
You know how many wings are going to get ripped off when people walk by motorcycles?
Oh, at the motorcycle show?
Yeah.
You're going to be walking by with your baggy pants or your baggy jacket on because it's wintertime.
Or a purse.
And you're going to hook a wing by accident
Yeah.
and take down a $30,000 motorcycle.
Oh, yeah.
Or break off a $30,000 carbon fiber wing.
But the crazy part is MotoGP, they're already testing smaller front ends and different smaller wings and all kinds of shit.
Oh, it's
man.
crazy.
Yeah.
They're down
Speaking
for
of
a
MotoGP, I listened to MotoGP and the NOCO Moto podcast the other day. I picked up an episode. I've been trying to listen to, just do other stuff, keep my mind occupied and stuff. And, I've listened to some of ours, but it's kind of like, well, I was there.
I was there, right? Yeah.
So I did enjoy listening to their podcast. They were, they were talking about the 3-cylinder Honda. Took great pains to mention that is not a supercharger or a turbocharger.
It's forced air induction.
It's just a forced air. It's supposed to give a constant air pressure. Right. It's just a blowy,
It's a
blowy blower.
Yeah,
it's
leaf
not,
blower.
It's not, yeah. So
it's not a scroll or a Roots style supercharger in the greatest sense of the word, because you're not condensing the air and fuel charge into a higher than 1 atmosphere.
they were describing it as it was just giving it a constant pressure.
Yep,
So
and
it doesn't actually spool up with the RPM of the motor, I guess.
No, it just runs. Yeah.
So Brian Nutter from work at Summit, he's like one of our master tuners. He actually creates crankshafts. That's what he does for a living, like modifies them and everything. I showed him that motor and he did a whole bunch of shit and he came back and was talking to me, and it's exactly that. So as a tuner, when you're getting into especially for higher RPM motors and high capacity motors and things, like to know the exact amount of air that's going to come in to the millibar,
right?
That allows you to tune the rest of it perfectly. So they're just going to it's like a helicopter. It's going to spin up to like 15,000 RPMs and then just stay there.
Right.
So exactly. That's a really cool concept.
So one of the things they didn't know that it was, if I was on that podcast, I would have told them that, yes, they're actually planning on having a second battery to power that. Mm-hmm. And there was something else I was thinking but whatever. But yeah.
So back to Tony Summerscales, he says, I caught up with an old friend who works for BMW UK, and he was telling me how great it rides and how brilliant the technology is, but then immediately followed it up with, and it doesn't look bad either when you're sitting on it.
Yeah.
And that's true. Like you're sitting on it, you can't see all the body work.
I'm going to say
yeah.
I'm an outlier probably, but I like the looks of the Adventure. But I did sit on one.
Yeah.
It felt huge.
Yeah.
And then standing in front of it when I got off of it, I was like, Jesus.
It looks like a
criminy.
freight train.
It looks like a chest freezer
Yeah.
or a washing machine.
It
or
looks
something.
like if they painted it in dingy colors, it would be perfect on Dune.
Yes, it would. That's a
Or
very good
a
Dune
Blade
prop.
Runner
Yeah.
or something. Like it just has that big, like with the lights on the front, and you expect it to go like or whatever.
So he says, which clearly shows how even a mother can't love that ugly bastard. I don't know if the R18 got any traction over there, but in the UK, it seems they can't give them away.
Nope, nothing here either.
They're not doing great here.
They would have if they would have. Remember when they had the demo version?
The very first proto.
They would have sold 1 billion of them fucking things.
Well, it looked super old. And then companies made kits to make it look like that. But the discounts and favorable financing packages took many thousands of pounds from the list price. But it felt rather desperate. Zero had a stand at the show, which was nice to see, but the staff outnumbered the punters 2-1. That's pretty normal. Clearly, we haven't embraced alternative fuels yet as a community. And talking of that, have you seen that Kawasaki have a hybrid in their range? What's that all about? It's heavier, ugly to look at, and the claimed 70 miles per gallon is not much better than an average middleweight commuter bike. I agree.
Yeah.
Fuck me, I sound like a grumpy old man, and maybe that's the problem. There were some great bikes there too. The Triumph guys are knocking it out of the park, and the Chinese brands are doing things differently at a price point that is affordable to a younger rider. So maybe they are our salvation, but they have to look at some of the brand names. I inadvertently found myself sitting on a Benda, which in English slang is a gentleman who prefers the company of other gentlemen.
Where you get that? Where you think you'd be able to get that thing over? Get the Benda over?
Get the Benda over? Yeah. Well, I mean, again, at one of our indie expos,
that comes
our
after you
old
buy
mechanic spent a lot of time riding the Handsome Boy. Yeah, so that was tough. which might limit the sales to your average heterosexual teenager. In other news, next weekend is the Reading Toy Run, where the motorcycle community does what it does best and come together for a good cause. Several thousand bikers will all dress up in Santa outfits and deliver toys for local children's homes. So now the sun is coming up. It's time to dig out all the decorations from the loft and transform the vision from a spaceship into Santa's sleigh.
Oh, yeah.
Keep up the great work and ride fast and take chances. Tony. Thank
Nice.
you, Tony. What a
Nice.
great...
Bum,
No,
bum,
that's-
bum.
That's it. We're going to close the show now.
That's a fucking
We're
email,
done.
man.
That's an email. That is well played, sir.
Tony,
Absolutely.
we should have a monthly update from Tony.
Tony Summerscales writes a good letter.
Yeah,
he
man.
really does.
Tony,
That's-
if you got the time, a monthly update from Tony could be a segment. That's a good email, man.
it is a very, very good email.
Yeah.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
We do.
Yeah,
We're there
yeah,
for you, buddy.
Speaking of which,
Yes. Speaking of which, we have a prop. Wait, we do have a prop. So Sleepy used to work for this company in Cleveland.
Yep.
Called Blaster. And sure enough, what do we have? But we have Collision Bend Brewery. Work it like a pro, Blaster since 1957.
Can you take the can over and put it?
I'm gonna go on the option play that this isn't just penetrating oil.
right, yeah.
Maybe just a little aftertaste.
The can is exactly
Yeah, the can is exactly like the Blaster can.
Blaster.
Well, the new can, that was a big update when I was doing videos for them.
Mm-hmm.
We actually did a video where we like exploded the old can into the new can because they updated it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
so
Are these on Chris? Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Are we opening these, or are they so
Sure.
collectible we
I
can't?
think
do
we
it?
should open them on
look,
mic.
if you want one collectible, I bought a whole case of them.
They will make more.
My buddy wants me to get him some. I got to get him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the style is called Loosen Up Amber Lager.
Loosen up because it's good for loosening up your nuts.
Yeah.
That's what it's
How
for.
fun is that?
They should have stuck with bust your nuts.
Bust your nuts.
Or no, wait, no.
Don't bust your nuts.
Don't bust your
Yeah,
nuts.
don't bust your
a knuckle.
knuckles.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
Don't-
get there eventually,
Yeah,
Sleepy.
don't bust your knuckle, bust a nut.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it's all about. And, for...
What the fuck is wrong with them, man?
Don't bust your knuckles. Bust your nuts.
They got some good stuff on this can, though.
Although the can is hilarious. The can it gives you something to do while you're drinking. It's like reading the cereal box. I'm going to throw it up so the folks at home can see it. And I love where it says thirst quenching catalyst.
There you go.
I like that. Drink on afternoons, lights, game days, weekends, nights.
Yeah, there are definitely some excellent marketing going on there. Why did you quit working for them, Sleepy? Jeez.
They
Seems like right up your frickin' angle. Right up your
no,
alley.
they were cool. They were fun. They just went in some different directions. Like they hired us to do a whole bunch of cool stuff, and then this other guy took over, and it was weird. But also, they brought us in, and I was doing my company's work,
Right.
But then I was also coming up with ideas for their advertising
Right.
budget without being paid for that. And so when I brought up the fact that I came up with their 5 last advertising campaigns, and all
Right.
they did was hire me to do the campaign, I started to say, like, you know what? Like I think that idea was worth something.
Right, that idea had a little value to
Yeah,
it.
right. Yeah. So I kind of, I slowly went away. And then when I took some other jobs, I was like, fuck
Yeah,
it.
there you go. Well, that happens.
But they were cool. I mean, they were fun.
Ain't
So
nothing wrong with
they got the tip on the side of the can. It says, cracking a cold one after a long day can be extremely satisfying. Drink responsibly. Directions. Hey, enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a delicious beer, right?
Very, very clever.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Yeah, it tastes great.
This tastes like Narragansett.
It definitely has a taste I've had in my mouth before, and it's not PB Blaster.
Yeah.
So that's good because I
about
can
to
tell
say,
you.
real PB Blaster, you get that shit on your hands where you're working on the car or something. I mean, it's a great product, but man, does
does.
that leave a stink.
It leaves a
And they
stink.
add that. Do you know that it doesn't have a
Tastes like
smell?
Narragansett.
It just has a light oil smell. They add that so
To make it,
to differentiate it from other smells.
they do a good job
Because WD-40 has a smell,
Right.
And they add that to it.
you get
WD-40 smells good.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like perfume.
So the Pro Can has control flow technologies.
Oh,
here.
really?
Yeah.
Pretty fucking solid.
What's the ABV on that puppy?
How to use.
I don't know.
Pull back metal tab.
Five-ish.
Tilt can back and enjoy for maximum refreshment.
What's the percentage there, Chris?
The ABV?
Yep.
ABV, let me look. ABV 5.2.
Right on.
And it has 21 IBUs.
There you go.
That's 5.05 too much for me.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you need the 0.00. All right, so back to podcasty stuff. I haven't been following the Chatamaran, but here's the thing about the podcast. our YouTube channel, we are danger close to being able to do something pretty cool.
Oh, yeah?
We need y'all to help. Go ahead, read to me, Chris.
Snow Farmer says, does the can say can't over-applicate?
Can't over-applicate. Nice. The recommended dosage is as much as you damn well please. Okay,
Apply liberally.
apply to the general regions. Our YouTube channel we're real close to being able to do affiliate links.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to promise you that if we get to the point where we can do affiliate links, y'all are going to be pretty happy about that. Okay.
We will affiliate.
Yeah. Well, affiliate links give us the ability to say something like this, give you guys a link, and then if you buy it, we get $1 or $2 or 10 cents or whatever. Okay. That's what affiliate links are all about. But we need about 400 more humans.
Yeah, so if you scratch our back, we'll take your nuts at Mid-Ohio.
Exactly. Yeah. So right now we are at 9,560 current subscribers on our YouTube channel. Yeah. I need 10. Okay. So please
subscribe.
Fuck yeah, man.
Subscribe.
Just subscribe. Okay. Yeah. If you're doing this live chat thing right now, subscribe. If you're enjoying our stuff, subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything but a freaking click, man.
These guys,
I wonder if I ever subscribe.
Next time you're on your friend's computer,
subscribe then too. You're using some Wi-Fi at the library, subscribe.
A lot of the guys have been subscribing to the channel, the Moto Stories channel too, and I appreciate
that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
because the Moto Stories channel just did their winter storage tips.
Yeah, tips.
And that's what we wanted to cover. So we've had a lot of people asking us on the Patreon.
Drooling, waiting for the shooting video.
Yeah.
I'm working it.
I know you were sick. I know you have your things.
Yeah, we went ski shooting.
There's a lot of built-up anticipation.
Oh, no, I'm putting time into it. You don't understand.
Okay.
Making a proper video.
Yeah. No. I've dedicated myself to a new level of editing for the channel. So you're going to be happy with this.
So we're going to go around the horn, and I want us to go around the horn, and I want each person at this table to say one thing at cumulative, listen to what the guy says before you, that they find helps them when they do winter storage. Okay. I am going to start. The most important thing that the cross I will die on is non-ethanol fuel. I am going to tell you at the shop, 90% of the problems that we are seeing in the past 3 years probably could have been avoided had the bike not been stored, even like, I'm going to ride this bike next week, but they don't get to ride the bike for 3 or 4 months. Ethanol gas. And I promise you, in the testing that we've done, the higher the octane you're buying, the more ethanol is in it and the longer it's been hanging around. And as Grumpy Sewer Guy will attest, it doesn't take but 30 days for the 10% ethanol, which is about 12 ounces per gallon, to bring in about 6 ounces of water. If you no, you can't until I'm done.
Right.
If you think that it's okay to put a can of water in your gas tank of your motorcycle for every 2 gallons of gas that's in there, if you think you're cool with a can of water in your gas tank, then you are not a mechanic. You have no idea what's going on, and you are going to have a bad day. But we have a new worst case scenario that has been happening to these bikes that we didn't see coming. Because if I tell you got a can of water, 12 ounces of water in your gas tank, the first thing you're going to say is rust, corrosion. Okay, but a lot of motorcycles have plastic gas tanks. Where we're seeing the lion's share of the problem is inside the fuel pump. Because the fuel pump's impeller in those Mitsubishi fuel pumps that we all use and know and love, or the fake Chinese copies thereof, the impeller inside that fuel pump is a very tight fit. It has to be. And when you get water in your gas into that impeller, then that oxidation process on your impeller causes the impeller to swell. And now the impeller swells and it won't turn. The reason you can't ride your motorcycle is not because you have rust in the gas tank. It's not because you have rust in your fuel injectors. It's not because the water is causing traditional corrosion like you think it is. What's happening is the water is getting into the fuel pump, and then that is damaging the plastic that's in the fuel pump. And then when your motorcycle gets hot or warms up, that expands. Congratulations. You've ridden your motorcycle 26 times, 15 minutes to your house, 15 minutes to your house, 15 minutes to work, and you've been fine. You've been great. But now this weekend, you want to ride for 45 minutes and you put some real heat into that gas tank and that impeller swells up and that fuel pump stops dead. You didn't see it coming. But we're seeing that on modern, we used to talk about the ethanol being bad for carbureted bikes and the oxidation and the green slime and stuff we saw in the carbureted bikes. But I'm here to tell you right now that just because you have a fuel injected bike does not mean that you are immune to the problems of ethanol and water in your gas. And ethanol equals water after 30 days. So the fuel pump failures that we're seeing now on fuel injected motorcycles, where we're like, what the hell's going on with this bike? We just worked on it. We cleaned everything. It works great. We took it for a test ride around the neighborhood. It's perfect. It's fine. We love it. It's cool. Come give us money. Get your bike out of here. We put 2 new tires on it. We did an oil change and a filter. You're good to go. And the guy's riding it home. Now, I don't ride a bike in a test ride for 45 minutes to an hour, but he damn sure rode his bike 45 minutes to get it home. And now his bike is dying after it's leaving our shop. And that bike boomerangs and comes back to us. And I realize that when it's hot, it won't restart because the impeller is seized up. You let the bike cool down, the impeller moves again. That's an ethanol-related problem. It's not a fuel pump-caused problem. It's not the fuel pump took a dive. It's the ethanol in there caused a low-mileage fuel pump to take a dive. So that's it. Now, Sleepy, go ahead.
I was going to say, same thing with the water, too. It interacts with the enzymes or whatever is in the ethanol itself, and then it causes an actual like fungus to grow.
It does,
and that's why the gas or the fuel stuff that we all use, what is it, Gastron or Startron?
Startron.
It has an enzyme that fights that.
That's the idea. Yeah. The idea behind Startron is it does not neutralize ethanol. Right. It does not do that. What it does is there's an enzyme in Startron that counteracts the organic enzyme that exists when fuel, which has ethanol in it, comes in contact with water, which you cannot keep ethanol from bringing water in out of the atmosphere.
It's literally growing the corn again.
It's literally growing an organic material again. And that's ending up, and that's why we went from having white colored crusties inside our carburetors when a bike sat for too long to having green slime inside our carburetors. And that's an organic substance.
But that can also happen to fuel injectors, to your point.
You bet your ass it can. Yeah. So fuel injectors used to be the secret get out of jail free card, and they are not. So if you do nothing else before you put your bike away, I started running ethanol free in my bikes that I knew this might be the last gas I put in before winter, about a month and a half ago. Because I just didn't know. When I took your Vulcan out last time, I put ethanol free in it because I don't know when I'm not going to ride it again, right? I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to get that bike out and ride it. So just to err on the side of caution, many gas stations have it now. So call around, find it. We have Circle K in Ohio.
Yeah.
What's that?
Puregas.org.
Puregas.org. Exactly. That's how you find it. It might cost you an extra $1 a gallon. In lieu of that,
cheap insurance.
That is such a cheap insurance.
Usually $4 a gallon right now.
Right now.
$4.99 last week. But that being said, though, man, like think about how many hours if you pay yourself $30 an hour to clean carbs, to take everything out, it's worth that extra $1.
I will hang out and watch while you pull a fuel pump out of a BMW motorcycle. I will watch you pull a fuel pump out of a BMW R1100 RT. And I'll sit, and if you can get a fuel pump out and back in again in under 7 hours, you're my man, right? But you can't.
Sucks.
You just can't. And the fuel pump itself is about a $400 unit.
Yeesh.
And you could have prevented that from happening by, instead of buying 92 octane, only the best for my baby, don't. Get yourself some 89 or 90 octane ethanol free, because there is no argument I will hear that says, the 92 octane or the 91 octane, which is going to be the same price as the ethanol free, by the way.
Right, yeah, at that point.
Is in any way better than doing ethanol free. Right. Ethanol free is always the better decision. And we've seen that with customers we have that are carbureted bike owners that have somehow magically dodged a bullet for the past 5 years. Oh, well, what's your secret? Well, I've been running ethanol free gas in my bike for the past 5 or 6 years.
I know what my secret is. My secret is start your bike up at least 3 or 4 times over the winter, and you probably won't have that problem.
How long do you run your bike when you start it?
minimum 30 minutes.
Right.
And run it hard. Don't just let it sit there idle.
Yep.
But you want to cook off the exhaust pipe and get all the water and everything and let it flow, let it warm up really good, let it charge the battery.
Yep.
And don't forget to shut it off. I did that a couple times, like, just start it up and then got busy, did something else, came back, no gas.
You know, I left the van running in the driveway overnight.
And a dead battery.
At the shop.
Oh, sweet.
24 hours. Like, I left the van running, parked in front of my shop. Because I was doing that whole thing. It's wintertime when I'm going to go start the van up, start all the vehicles up, let them simmer for a while, get that oil up to 220 degrees, and then rev them up. Well, just got away from me and
smoke a bowl and
whatever. I mean, and I came back to work the next day and I was like closing the shop down. I was like, I can't find the keys for the van. That's weird. Oh, it's in it and it's still running. Yeah.
At least you had gas.
It didn't use as much as I thought it would.
Really?
Right. It didn't use all the gas.
24 hours. How much? Like this? Do you remember approximately?
Probably 8 gallons. It's like got a 36-gallon tank in it. It's got a big gas tank. But
that's a lot. That's quite a bit.
Gallon. Yeah, it's about 8 gallons.
24.
I thought it might come back to it being totally empty, but it wasn't.
Yeah. I can't believe you came back to a van still sitting there.
Totally gone, right?
Me too.
I mean,
wouldn't be the first van that was stolen from there.
I know. That's what I was going to say. The neighborhood
you're not in a very good neighborhood there. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
So OSU Caro 76 says, filled all my bikes with ethanol-free gas to the brim.
Yep.
$5 a gallon in Milwaukee.
Yep. Fantastic.
And then Kevin says, hey, what's up, Sleepy and crew? Did the heater quit working? LOL.
Did the heat? Well, we just shut the heater off in here, but because it was making too much.
And sweaters.
I think he's talking about how you're dressed.
Oh yeah, because I do look like Nanuki of the North over here, right? Yeah, for real.
You look like Nanook of the desert, actually.
I'm still freezing cold. I was outside all day long in 2 feet of snow. I'm like,
yeah, you're not warmed up yet at all. Yeah.
I got to eat something. Like I need some calories.
The other day, when I went out of town, I dropped the thermostat in the shop to about 59 degrees, right? So I keep the shop pretty damn chill. And because if I'm coming in and it's just me, I'll leave it at 59 degrees. I'll put on a jacket. I don't care.
Right.
I pay for that electric bill. I pay for that gas bill. But when Renee's there, Renee's got to have it at least 65.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But when I'm in my house, I like to crank the heat all the way up to like 67.
Ooh,
well, Merritt likes to push it back down to like 65. Huh. So I have two different wars going on depending on my location.
I used to like 72 degrees.
Jesus.
But I don't anymore. And this year we've been riding at about 66, 67.
Yeah.
And we've gotten used to it. And like Peggy and I keep like, man, it feels warm in here. What's it set at? No, it's at 67. I'm like, right. But we're warm, Yeah. Just started wearing a little more clothes. And
that's it.
It's way better for sleeping at night.
Have you ever been over somebody's house when they run it at like 78 and the sun? You're like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Like,
Grandma was like 89.
I used to pick up and deliver
1 degree for every year of age.
I used to deliver and repossess furniture and electronic goods into bad neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And you go in and if, a lot of places the heat's free.
Yeah.
So they got the steam all the way on. And then on top of that, they'll have like 3 or 4 boiling pots of water on the stove with, various items in them.
Yeah.
And to create humidity in the house. And I would go into these places in, mid-July or mid-January, mid-February. And I would just be like, oh my God, the humidity factor over 80 degrees. I'm wearing jackets and stuff for being outside, flannel lined pants. And I'm going in to repossess a 7-piece living room set and a big screen TV and a stereo system. And that's why there's so many roaches, is because you've given them a tropical environment.
Yeah.
And so I would like pick up a big screen TV and do the technical drop. So you just pick it up like 3 inches and drop it.
Oh,
and then thousands and thousands of roaches would come out of it. And you're like, yeah, that sucks.
When I had my record store, I lived above it in this like terrible apartment where I couldn't control the heat. No, it was just on.
Just on.
And so I'd have like the windows open. It would be snowing and it would just like melt as it came through the window. Oh, and then there was a Chinese. So my record store was over here and my apartment was here. I actually lived above a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
And so in that time when it would get hot like that, it would just smell like noodles. Like the whole apartment was just fucking noodles. Oh, it's terrible.
David Swergen. Both my bikes, boat, lawnmowers, golf cart get nothing but boat gas.
Boat gas is it, man. That's it.
From David Swergen.
Love to boat gas. Dan, what's your tip for putting them away for the wintertime?
I do the same thing with the ethanol free. I like to put a little extra air in the tires. It's going to sit for a few months.
Good move, because you're going to get in front of it a little bit. Yeah, get in front of it a little bit. So, you're going to lose about 1 PSI every time the temperature does a change of more than 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So, and that happens when you're on the road and stuff. You'll notice that in the daytime, if it's 60, 70 degrees, but at night it's 40, you're going to that costs you a PSI. So you do have a week of that, 2 weeks of that, your tire's low. Don't just trust it, right? That's a good tip. Get in front of it a little bit so you don't end up on the rim or you don't end up flat spotting your tires.
Well, and on a side note to your note is put it on the center stand if you have a center stand.
Yeah, get some weight off the tires. Yep. Yeah, get some weight off the tires.
Well, the thing too that you love to do, especially with carbureted bikes with a petcock, was turn the petcock off and run all the gas out of the carbs. I mean, you got to do that.
Yeah. If you get a carbureted bike, that is, and it doesn't kill you to get a 99-cent store pair of pliers, pair of vice grips, right? And if your bike doesn't have a petcock, for whatever reason, but it has a fuel line, then go ahead, gas it up, carbureted bike, squeeze off the hose, squeeze off the fuel line, and let the bike run dead. Yeah. And if you want to be a superstar, your motorcycle has an air intake on it, right? Get to that air intake and give it a shot of WD-40 to fully make sure that the last gasp of air it takes is full of water dispersant. And that bike will probably start real easy for you in the springtime.
Or regular fogging oil. You can buy fogging oil. I mean, WD-40 is a good substitute for it, but they make a product specifically for it.
It's not hard to find fogging oil. Today, in the day of Amazon that's out there, there are our friends over at Justice Brothers. Yep. They make a fogging oil, and it's a fine one. And you can pull your spark plugs out, fog them. But that's not my tip. Dan definitely said a little extra air in the tires goes a long way. Anybody else? What do you guys think? What's your favorite?
I'll add to Dan's. I use my track stands for my bikes. So the bikes that I have good tires on for twisties and stuff, I get those completely off the ground and do the same thing. Add a little extra air. Right. The one thing I forgot from my video, which I remembered as I was doing it yesterday, I on any kind of chrome parts or non-painted aluminum, I'll spray WD-40 on a rag and just wipe them down.
Absolutely,
because that way you're gonna maybe not get corrosion. It gives you a little fighting chance against corrosion.
Absolutely.
Yep. So.
Yep. WD-40 is not the world's greatest lubricant. I got to caution you. If you really think that, you've got an item that gets a lot of wear and tear, a lot of abuse, if you think spraying fish oil on there is going to protect it and keep it smoothie, you're probably wrong. But what its name is water dispersant, and it works great for that. So wiring harnesses, super great. Yep. Super great.
WD-40 is good for loosening things up, getting them moving, but it doesn't stick around.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't.
For that, you want spray grease or something like that.
Yeah, and something that's got capillary action. We talked about ACF 50 here, corrosion blocker. Those are things that...
Are they still a sponsor?
No, they're not a sponsor.
Then we shan't speak their names.
Right, that's true.
We shan't.
Yeah, right.
We shan't.
Yes,
that stuff's expensive, but it works, man.
I am a true believer in that stuff, but I also use it like this. I have the noodle on at all times. I'm not getting any spray by, and I'm like, okay, that's enough.
And we're not going to speak of manscaping.
No, but you know what else?
We're not going to speak of any of our other many sponsors.
I've been letting my bush grow just because I'm so mad at Manscaped. Yeah,
but you can really push that. It's like once you get it on like a microfiber towel, you can push it around. It doesn't take a lot because it has capillary action. It sucks into the metal. Yeah,
that is one of those items. That product, ACF 50. When you're talking about that or corrosion blocker, corrosion blocker is thicker. It has wax in it. But when we use ACF 50. It gets all the way down the cable. Yep. It really does. And it does tend to run towards the heat. So if you put a little shot here, it works its way to where the warm spot is.
It is. It's
which
crazy.
Is really amazing.
They showed that in a frying pan. Yeah. It'll literally go
runs
to
the heat. Yeah, it goes to the heat. Anybody else got a hot tip for your storage?
Do we have any of these left?
Yeah. I think they're in the fridge.
The refrigerator.
Oh, they're in the fridge?
Okay.
I'll get you one. I'll deliver.
What about you, Pete? What do you got?
Well, you skipped John.
Oh, well, John,
I already jumped line, so you should go.
Okay, I'm going to say before I put my bikes up, fresh oil. I changed the oil at the end of the riding season.
Zangu.
Because, combustion byproducts and stuff, there's acids that get created in the oil, and that stuff sits on the inside your cases, on the crank, on the bearing surfaces. So I like fresh oil before I put anything up.
And then in the spring, you can just jump on and go.
I usually change the oil once in my bikes when I first get them.
And then at least once.
And then add as needed.
At least one time, right? Yeah, but that's a good tip because we've had a lot of bikes too that we've seen come in that have gone 3 or 4 years between oil changes. And for the fun of it, if I pick the bike up and it's a non-runner, it's sitting in some guy's garage, I'll tip it. I'll take the dipstick out and I'll tip the bike over. And you see water and chocolate milk come out of the top of these things every single time.
Yep. I was going to say, so just like from heat cycling and stuff, like John, you talk about starting the bike up and letting it run, but you don't let all the moisture burn off. If you get any of that moisture in the crankcase, it's going to become that frothy chocolate milky shit. So clean oil and then let them run if you do start them over the winter.
Yeah.
You can't just idle. That's the important thing.
If you don't get the bike if you don't get the oil up to 200 degrees, you're not doing anything. You got to get the water out of the oil, right? So you have to get that temperature up. And you get that temperature up by running the motor, right? And that doesn't mean just sit on your idle circuit. Don't sit on your idle circuit for half an hour. No, go up, go through the whole range.
And the other, another thing too, if you have, this is all relevant to whether or not you have this ability, but if you can have your bikes in a place that you're not going to have things that are going out into the snow coming in and out of all the time, because that moisture change is what causes
it does.
The corrosion. So if you don't like your car that much, you can keep it out of the garage. Like I have a giant garage. No cars are going in my fucking garage.
No, your garage is the safe zone.
Yeah.
Right. Your garage is
I'm pretty sure I'm not going to take the Corvette out this winter and bring it back in the garage.
Right. That's exactly right. Yep.
Well, constant temperature too. Even if you like have your garage and you keep it at 50 over the winter, but it's those wild temperature swings. So, you go in there and you grab something and it just feels like damp in your hand. Like that's also happening to your motorcycle. And like Steve said about coating chrome with light oil, make sure the bike's clean before you put it away too. Because even like on the paint and stuff, if there's like use a swing arm, there's like mud on it. And then that mud absorbs moisture out of the air, or it's like dried dirt, but it becomes mud. Because
that's where you're going to see corrosion.
It's a moisture sponge,
and there can be iron in the dirt. There can be all kinds of shit in there.
Wait, let me get this straight. Mud is wet dirt.
Yes.
Well, that's another one too. Like definitely lube. Like I put that in the thing. Run. I use chain wax for winter storage because that way you just you don't have to worry about the corrosion getting to your chain. And chains ain't cheap.
Nope. No, they're not.
Again, I wouldn't know. I've never replaced a chain on any of my bikes. None of them have broken off, so I'm assuming they're have an infinite lifespan.
You also haven't been doing 45,000 miles a year.
That's very much true.
That's obviously, I've never ridden a monkey across the United States.
That's very much true. Right. I'm jealous, though.
I am too.
I am.
Chris, do you have any hot tips for storage?
I'm just saying.
Seriously? So that's you got to do a chain.
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
Speaking of monkeys and stuff, cool stuff. I sent you a link to the ClevelandMoto Gmail. Did you see that? It's like a 1960s looking Honda race bike, but it's a 125. Oh my God, is it good?
Pretty spicy.
I need that for Mid Ohio.
Pretty sexy. Chris, what's your hot take?
Is calling ClevelandMoto to say that.
That's pretty handy.
I'm putting my bikes into storage.
Yeah, we have quite a few bikes in storage.
And then
today. Yeah,
I will store a few on the back porch. That's now being heated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, heated. And,
I thought you meant just out on the snow.
No. It's a indoor porch, and
my garage isn't heated, and I don't necessarily feel bad about it because even though they're inside. And it's not heated, but it still helps regulate the temperature. I mean, like it doesn't get as cold at night as it does and stuff.
Yeah.
So it helps out. I mean, I could, but I don't think it's really necessarily necessary.
Is that from the Department of Redundancy Department?
Yes.
You could say that again.
Here's a hot tip.
Yes.
If you have a waterproof motorcycle cover.
Oh, no.
If you have a waterproof motorcycle cover, this is not the time for it. I appreciate your love. I think what you got going on is totally cool, but it will become a greenhouse.
Yep.
Any moisture that exists in the air, in military survival training, they teach you how to make an air still. And the only thing you need to do to make an air still is have a sheet of plastic. And if you've got a poncho or any other non-permeable piece of plastic, you hang it up and you put a string coming out of the bottom of it, and you will harvest water out of the air. We were talking about dune earlier. You will harvest water right out of the air because that's exactly what happens. When you have that large piece of plastic, that large poncho, even when it's a super arid environment, you will collect water in that thing. And it is exactly the same no matter what your storage unit looks like or sounds like or feels like if you have a plastic or an airtight cover over your bike. We have seen more people put the bike to bed looking great and then pull that plastic cover off in the springtime, and every inch of chrome on the bike is rusted because you are creating a greenhouse environment.
Well,
There's another. Oh, go ahead.
I'll say a waterproof cover is waterproof from both sides.
Both ways.
It'll shed water from the outside, but it'll trap water on the inside.
Best thing you can do for any kind of a bike cover, if you have a garage,
Right.
not like for outside,
Yeah.
go to like Big Lots and buy a bunch of bed sheets.
Yeah, go
and
to-
throw a bed sheet over it. And done.
Seriously, don't ever throw away a bed sheet or an old sleeping bag or anything ever again.
No, don't do
Save
any
them.
of those things.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that covering things up like that does is make them a shelter
It becomes a mouse house.
for rodents.
Yeah, it becomes a mouse house.
And so
it's warm. It's
sometimes keeping it out of a heated, like letting it get freezing cold
absolutely
isn't
fine.
a bad thing to keep mice out.
And if you have mice, get those the mouse traps. Get the mouse pellets. Get the green food things. Anything you can, because Dan Kroenke will tell you, modern Japanese wiring harnesses are vegetable based.
There's no replacement for a snap trap. That's all. I'm just a little peanut
Be,
butter and a
be
snap.
vigilant, right? Be vigilant. Oh, my tippy water bucket ones.
Oh,
Yes.
those are good.
My tippy water bucket ones scored like 20 mice in the past month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are on fire. And I think the mice are like, hey, you heard about the sauna? You heard about the hot tub? You guys got to come in, because I think I'm getting the neighbor's mice now, because it has become a very, very hip place for these mice to be. But at one point I got about a gallon of water in the bottom of that 5-gallon bucket. And these are the mouse traps that have a little trap door on top, and they just literally just sit on top of a 5-gallon bucket with a ramp or some other climbing device to get in. Put a little tiny touch of peanut butter on the ramp, put a touch of peanut butter on the flippy thing on the top, and I got a bucket full of wet, drowned mice.
And they're a great source of protein.
Well,
So maybe we should talk about
just put it on the backyard.
capsaicin spray.
capsaicin spray is another great thing. Yes, absolutely. It's not just for winning fights with your neighbors anymore.
Nope.
Right. Yeah. It's not just for cops and frat boys.
Another tip is to have a crazy wife that likes barn cats, because with her 6 barn cats, I haven't seen a mouse in fucking 2 years.
You have not. Right. Also, no birds.
No, there's not a lot of things that move in our yard that aren't part of the thing.
It's a circle of life.
No sex.
Delicate ecosystem.
Yeah, there you go.
Delicate
Oh, of
ecosystem.
course, no sex.
But mostly run by the cats. I
Yeah,
promise you.
yeah,
The cats are at the top of that food chain.
Zero sex.
Yeah.
Buzz Lightyear is this big orange guy. Well, he wasn't big. He used to be kind of skinny,
But now he's
been our barn cat. He looks like Garfield, like 100%. He's a big old.
So you're
fat
feeding him
fucker.
cat chow and he's getting supplemental.
Oh, yeah.
Stop feeding him the cat chow.
Are there any more of those blasted blasters left?
Yeah, I'll get you one. I'll get you a blaster.
I like a good blasted blaster.
Yeah, it seems like that guys are enjoying that.
Well, I really like
So
Narragansett, and I
Matthew
feel like that
Dingman
tastes like
says, I'm
Narragansett.
not affiliated with them, but I just had one the other night, though. Speaking of the blasters, yeah.
I feel this much closer to you, brother.
Yeah, super fun. The this one I'm going to throw up because we got to talk about this. I promised Sleepy we would talk about this. This is a must do. Come on, baby.
Sleepy loves those promises.
Well, this is a good one.
This
Yeah.
is. This made me.
All right.
Is this the one I think it is? It made me squiggly.
The one you're thinking of.
Oh yeah. This has to be had.
Did it put a smile on your penis?
It did. This thing.
This is a pretty cool bike, man.
Dude.
I mean,
If it had 2 headlights though, then I would be done. I'd
Man.
have it looked like I threw a custard at the TV. It'd just be horrible.
yeah, this one's legit.
It's like 2 cockheads.
Yeah. So to bring you up to speed, the foundation of this is a 125 cc bike. Please let me cast. There we go. Now we're casting. 3, 2, 1, and launch the orgasmic noises. Yes, that's
is
it.
so good.
That is it. The One Joy Mini 125 cc. Pretty sexy little bike,
I
man.
mean, they
With
put
white walls?
white walls and spoked wheels, man.
Right.
Yeah, the white walls are lame, but the spoke wheels, come
Yeah.
on, dude.
White walls are cool.
That's a Japanese market thing. That's
Yeah.
definitely, hey, they exist, so let's put them on here. It's a cool looking bike, man. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. This is cool.
What is the Honda that it's replicating? It's the
Knuckle Fresh, he knows this bike.
Isn't it the 50cc?
Well, it's like all the
CB 166.
almost any of the 1960s racers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The RC 166. I mean, they all had that cool
that
full
fairing,
fairing with the yellow and everything.
Yeah, either a green stripe or a yellow stripe, depending on the team.
If you flip through a couple of the things there, you'll see the front, and they nailed it. They got the big headlights sticking out the front with the X through the front of it. Like it's just every like racer boy's wet juicy dream, just like squirting everywhere.
They are
whoa.
beautiful.
Okay.
I mean, it is a beautiful
I love
bike.
this bike, dude. What do you want?
Cancel.
From me? Look at oh,
Yeah.
look at that thing.
It's a beautiful bike. There is no doubt about it. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous machine. And you're just like, yeah, this is cool. This is,
it's going to be impractical, uncomfortable, terrible in every way.
The gas tank looks like a CB400F gas tank.
Yeah.
So the gas tank looks like a CB400F Super Sport gas tank to me. But it looks really fun. It looks really cool. I wouldn't have done the white walls, but the rest of it's spot on.
No.
Yeah.
But here's
really
what
cool.
I'm thinking.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I'm moving forward. I have another phone call with the dude from the Wayne County track.
Yes.
Can you imagine having a vintage racing class with these 125cc bikes?
Just any 125 class.
Yeah, I
That's
know,
all
but
it
just
is.
look at that.
It's
That
any
would be so
125cc
fun.
class. It's super
Look
cool.
at the size of the turn signals, though.
Right. It does
Well,
have.
that's because those are normal turn signals.
Those
that's how small
are
the bike-
4x4.
Those are.
No, that's a small bike, dude.
Yeah, but those are the same turn signals that Honda did put on every.
the Acura.
They're the same ones on my
Those turn signals on the front of that bike slow it down a lot.
Yeah.
Those are massive.
You get
turn
5
signals.
more MPGs if you take them off.
You definitely got to take those
Those are
turn
directly
signals.
off the Hunter Cub.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they
Basically.
are. For real, they are. Yep.
Now, I wonder if they give you the electrical tape for the X, or does that come on there?
I don't. I'm sure it comes on there. For absolutely sure it comes on there.
But I like
It's
how
a
they
cool
have the
little bike,
fender
man.
stay and everything. man.
Everything about it's super cool.
Yeah.
There's
I'm not-
nothing about that bike that isn't fun.
I'm not digging the tail cowling.
But that's
It
the way
looks
they
like- it
look.
looks
It's
like
a brick.
It looks like a radio box off a police bike.
It does.
But that's the way they were. If you look at that bike, I mean, like
it does
they're
look like
real.
a radio box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just there to keep your ass from sliding off the banana seat. That's all it was there for.
It's not that bump stop seat business. They phoned that in. Yeah, that could have been better. That should have been a little curved
Yes.
bump. Yeah,
Like
that's
a
what that should have been.
Tupperware bowl cut
that
in
is
half.
easily
Yeah,
accessible.
right. You could have made this by cutting a Tupperware bowl in half, painting it red, sticking it back there. You've been totally fine. Unless there's something really important hiding under there,
Yeah.
like all the electronics.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna find out.
The battery.
Maybe it pops off and it's a pillion seat.
Oh, that would be funny.
I got emails into.
Oh, you got emails into these guys?
yeah,
You're like, yeah, we're going to make
yeah.
this happen.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful bike, man.
Yeah.
It's super fun, super cool looking. Yeah, I'm a fan.
Unfortunately, in like 2 months, the tariff will be like $28,000.
Yeah, I don't think.
And we're waiting
what?
for comments from our
Words are cheap.
listeners.
Oh, we got some comments?
No, we're waiting. We're waiting.
yeah.
So you folks, come on.
Words are cheap. I don't think we're going to see that.
I hope not. I don't care. I'm
Look,
just-
here's the point. If you're going to say we're going to tariff China 10%, but then you say we're going to tariff Canada and Mexico 25%, that's just a dick move, because you wouldn't have an American automobile industry with all the pieces parts that come from Canada and with Mexico.
Sure.
And as long as my American-made pickup truck has got a Mexican-made transmission or a Mexican-made, final drive or whatever, then yeah, why would you do that?
Right.
You're literally just shooting yourself in the damn foot.
Right.
Because you could say, oh, well, I'm going to go buy a Hyundai that's made in South Carolina because it's not from China, it's Korean, and I pay no tariffs.
Right.
So why would I buy an F-150 when I can buy a Hyundai that has no tariffs whatsoever? That's insane crazy. Yeah, but I think, people make a lot of threats when they're trying to stay in the news cycle.
Gotcha.
And I think that's what's happening. I don't think we're going to really worry about that too much.
Well, cool. Then we might see this at Mid-Ohio next.
I would love to see this bike at Mid-Ohio. Yeah, this would be perfect Mid-Ohio fodder.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
it's just perfect for that.
Yep.
Imagine taking that out on the track.
Right? I mean, why not, man?
Well, if the DeLorean-
What's our price point on this?
I'm not sure yet.
We're
but-
still, yeah.
But I mean, like if
The
it's
jury's still out.
if it's like any of the other clones, it's like under $2,000. I mean, unless they're trying to do some. I mean, maybe with the spoke. I don't know. I'll find out. I'm not even gonna speculate.
No, I don't think you should. I think speculating.
Well,
on
just
that
get
is
one and bring it
probably
in.
The worst
Come
thing you
on.
can do.
I'll work on it.
Yeah, it's but I think the overall appeal, just like your Buscadero. Your Buscadero is dead sexy.
And it's a good bike, though.
It's a
too.
great bike, and I love every part about
I'd
it.
like to draw your eye to even to the front end of it. I like the way that it has the straight across crossbar on the front fender.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much 1960s Honda. I like the way the dust covers are. They look, and the front fork lowers. I mean, those could be on a CB350 or a CB450, just miniaturized. You know what I mean? Like, there's lots of little cool things about it.
Yeah. I mean, I saw this and it just gave me the willies. I was like, oh.
I would be interesting to see a full size human on it.
That's
I think
a
there's
really,
a picture.
really fat looking front tire.
Yeah,
It is.
Well,
It's
the
kinda
rims,
heavy. The front end's kind of
the
heavy.
rims look like those Harley CB750 conversion rims. Like it's the big chrome.
That's a tire we have at the shop. It's a 130 by 70 by 12. So
Is that a white wall in the front?
Yeah, it is a white wall.
Okay, they're
and
white
we have
walls.
those. We can actually put those on your Vespa and stuff like that. So they come as a 130 by 70 12 and a 120 by 70 by 12.
But you see what I mean about the rims? They have like that high hump in the middle.
do.
You know, and
Yeah,
like-
well, that's good because that's an easy rim to mount. If you don't have a strong drop channel, it's a real bitch to mount, and those are clearly inner tubes.
Yeah.
So you kind of need that. That's a good setup. Probably pretty much an off-the-shelf 12-inch rim, off of who knows what, but there's plenty of them out there. Yeah, no shortage of. Go ahead.
So, listener Matt Davidson
Dave Matheson?
Dave Matheson.
says,
Matheson?
coming in late, did you finally answer my forking question? And right beyond that says OSU Caro says, yeah.
Osukado.
He says,
Osukado.
yeah.
Osukado 76.
He says, yeah, you missed it.
Matt, I would say yes.
Yes.
And that's yes.
We've got something for Matt this week. So it's you have not been forgotten. You're in the queue. But I'm almost sure that Osukado 76 is Oscar.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's our friend Oscar.
Oscura.
In Oscodo is running in his Japanese cloaking mode. Yeah. So for the folks at home, Matt Davidson, who we've gone back with, and we love Matt desperately. He says this is about the problems he's been having with that CL450.
Okay.
And he's just been beating his head against the wall. And he writes, ground. It was a fucking ground on the CL450. You give me enough time, I will figure this shit out myself.
Which
I
ground?
thought we had talked about that in the podcast. That
We had
all
a whole episode talking
on
about
Hondas,
grounds.
there's always a green wire that usually attaches to a 6M bolt underneath the seat somewhere. That's a ground.
That
And
should
it's-
be the first thing you check.
Yeah.
And
that
add
would-
extra grounds.
Run a redundant ground. I said it all the time.
Run a redundant
man.
ground always before you do electronic diagnostic. Add a redundant ground. It
But
saves us.
is that the ground you're talking about?
I'm about
that's-
to answer you.
Yeah.
All right. I was starting to think it was me, but obviously not. I'm not just standing around with my dick in my hand. I've got bikes I need to get running.
Sure, like we believe you.
Over 2 years of Patreon, only to get 4 answers out of you fuckers. All right,
That's about 3 more than anybody else.
That's an answer every 6 months. I don't know, man. Same price as downtown, right? The fuck with me another 4 or 5 times, and I'm going to have to up my Patreon level to legend status. See there? Don't threaten me with a good time. Please tell Tom to not so kindly fuck his hat for me. Same issue 7 times? No, you answered me once, and the answer was fucking wrong. Whoa, there's a very dissatisfied customer. The only advice I'll be taking from now on is from you and Johnny Mac.
You don't get what you paid for here.
Have another drink, Tom. We all love to hear you repeat yourself about how much Cybertrucks are rusting. Ouch.
Very good.
Touche.
Now, why don't you come and visit us and punch Tom in the balls right in person?
At a certain Patreon level, you get to punch him in the shoulder, right?
right,
You know
right.
that? But in all seriousness,
There's also no guarantee he won't punch you back.
Well, that's also true, and I wouldn't want to get hit by Tom. But in all seriousness, I still need help on the 350F. Yeah, everyone does, man. 350Fs are a cruel mistress. I do think my issue on the 450 would be good for others to hear so they don't chase their fucking tail like I did for weeks. I will also say that this is my first 450 twin. I took it for a spin Tuesday night, and fuck me, the amount of torque is unreal. I owned a number of 350 twins and did not expect that small increase in displacement to feel like twice the power. Yeah, CB450s are great bikes.
And dual overhead cams.
And a very bizarre dual overhead cam, right? With hairpins for springs. The engineering that Honda did on that bike is genuinely unbelievable for the time. And I can tell you, my Black Bombers were surprisingly fast bikes for what they were. And some people love to hate on them, but I have always loved my CB450s.
But that's that's a fraction of the engineering that was going. Look at their race bikes. If you really want to see engineering, like dual overhead cam 6-cylinder 250s.
6 across the rails. Yeah, exactly. Hope all is well out in Cleveland and everyone is able to get another few rides in before the end of riding season. Cheers, gentlemen. Yeah, and that's definitely, SL 350s, CL 350s, CB 350s. Yeah, that's all those twins they're pretty heavily trodden ground. The CB 350F, the 4 cylinders. Yeah, you're going to have some problems. Life's going to be tough. There is no tree that is producing the CB 350F carburetors.
No.
You got to scavenge that.
HIPAA, there's, if you go on Amazon and get rebuild kits, I think HIPAA or KIPA.
Yeah.
Those kits give you everything you need, including all the little tiny O-rings that you need for those carburetors, especially replace the O-rings on the float needle valve seats and on all the push-in style
push-in style
jets and stuff like that. They all have a little O-ring and they all get dried up and hard. Yep. And they have the little rubber bungs and they have the retainer clips and they're just stupid carburetors compared to, the CB750 carburetors with the clips that pop the float bowls off were the best carburetors ever built.
Absolutely.
I love those carburetors, but that's not what you have on a CB450F. So buy those rebuild kits, replace all those little tiny O-rings, and don't think you can go buy a kit that will have the right size O-rings because they won't. And even the carb kits that you buy, the O-rings don't quite want to fit either, and you will have to grease them and fuck with them and maybe be able to get them all to go together because that's the exact same thing I went through with my 350 twin. And yeah, if you get all that to work right, it might run really, really good.
It really is a lot. And
times 4.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of these over the years, and for a wild minute, I think I had 5 of them that I picked up. Just one year, I just did great. I picked up a load of them, and I ran Mark McDermott and Luke. I just ran them through the ringer. Those guys both got really good at doing these carbs, and they are not an easy thing to deal with.
Bench testing them is always advisable. Yeah. Flood them, fill them full of fuel on a bench. Make sure they don't run over. Make sure they're
Yep. And I have seen way more of these kits not work than work. And John's absolutely right about the O-rings. Very rarely we've been able to find good kits that work.
Plus, getting them in, getting them out, it's a pain in the ass. I recommend taking off your clamps completely.
Yeah.
So leave the ones closest to the engine on, but remove all the other clamps because they're probably just going to get fucked up anyway.
Yeah.
So take them all off, pull the carbs out with a crowbar or whatever you need.
That's what it's going to be.
And then,
getting things really moist. The wintergreen oil trick works really well. Getting things really moist, getting things really warm will help you a lot getting these things apart.
Do you think you could use a steamer? If you had a steamer against that thing,
I don't know.
Is that hot enough?
Anything to get those boots. The boots, you're going to fight with them.
I used to just squirt everything down with some WD-40 to kind of lube them up and let them soak in a little bit and stuff. I'm good.
I can't believe how much hot water. And
then a Phillips screwdriver to get your airbox boots back on, just going around them with a little.
Go slow, man. Just go super slow.
But you're not going to help yourself trying to leave the hose clamps on any of them because they're just going to get fucked up. So take them completely off, yoink them out, stick them back in.
Yeah. The K&L kits, are actually made in Japanese kits. So the kits from K&L actually have decent O-rings in them that will last, a little while. They're pretty great. Keysters, I can't remember if the Keysters worked good for the CB350.
Supposedly Keysters have improved because they actually took some people had said they asked for feedback because they were getting trashed because everybody's like, Keister kits, yay, they're cheap, they're $20, but
they're cheap, but they don't work, man.
Garbage.
Yeah, and also with the Keister kits, we were having a lot of problems where Keister would send you a kit and it would have non-standard jetting in it. Mm-hmm. So you'd get a brand new kit for your bike and you'd be like, okay, well, you're supposed to have 86 mains in it. And so you'd look in the kit and there'd be 91 mains or 92 mains. And you're like, wait, these aren't the right kits for the bike. And so if they're starting out at a disadvantage, if you're starting out with the wrong size jets, on 4 carburetors, you're probably gonna have a problem. And so you're right. I think I did read somewhere that Keister has kind of fixed their game or upped their game. On
Supposedly.
some stuff, the Keisters were, on some stuff we were okay with Keisters because they were okay. But the deluxe kits from K&L have all the extra O-rings in it. They have all the extra stuff in it. And even in some of those kits, they actually do come with floats.
Put a new O-ring in your keister.
Oh, the Kippa ones, they came with everything.
They come with the whole deal.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yep.
Now, I didn't use everything. Sometimes I like to keep the original Honda brass. The replacement jets, I might get rid of those, but I'll use the rubber. I'll use some of the kit.
Yep.
But they came with emulsifying tubes and stuff like that. Like, I was pretty impressed.
It's a complete kit. Yeah, I agree. I think that's money well spent because four of those little bastard carburetors, man. And don't ever separate the bodies. Just leave them in a rack. Don't unrack them. You will.
I can't think of any good reason to separate them.
To unrack them. There is just no reason. You will just be angry at yourself.
You'd have to have a problem with the O-rings in between the crossovers on the fuel. You know what I mean? The
Kippa is spelled K-I-P-A. So if you're out there hunting around looking for parts, I can tell you we've done a lot with those kits, and they're pretty solid, pretty good stuff. And
I wouldn't say they're not OEM, but
no, they're not OEM.
They're not expensive, and
Right.
they're pretty comprehensive, and you could probably use them to save your carbs.
Yeah, that if you're buying, in the past we've talked about a website called 4into1.com, and 4into1.com specializes in all the things that are the CB400F, the CB750, the CB550, all those bikes. They do a really good job. If you're looking for a good resource for your inline 4-cylinder Honda, 4into1.com is an excellent resource. And this kit, I've used this kit in the past, and it comes with the floats, and they're the floats that you can't sink. So these are the floats that are just cast floats.
Are they neoprene or?
Yeah, there's something. But you can't. All the ethanol in the world.
They're not hollow.
They're not hollow. You're not going to have to solder the floats. And when you solder the floats, you end up making the float heavier.
Never works.
Than it was. And I've never seen a good success come out of that. At that point, you've got a float that's going to sit low.
I've done a few that I did a lobectomy.
Yeah.
I took a good lobe off of one and put it on another one. That can sometimes work.
Yeah. But I mean, we've seen people try to solder a leaky float and only end up changing the weight of that float so dramatically that carb will flood out pretty much religiously. So the Kippa...
I've been able to get them fuel tight, but they seldom really work the right way.
Right. Yeah, they tend to ride pretty low. So if you get a chance and you are rebuilding any old Japanese 4-cylinder motorcycle, 4into1's a good resource. Definitely spend some time there. I bet you they have a modern solution to a 40-year-old problem, which is a good thing to know.
That's so much cheaper than my current dilemma.
Yeah, did you find out now how expensive Aprilia parts are?
I mean, I knew. I
Yeah.
guess I knew, but I didn't think. So I'm going to do the valves. I'm going to check the valves. About
Right, you check the
12,000
valves.
miles.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I'll get some gaskets. I'll do whatever. So I start looking it up.
Yeah.
$1,297 between the tools, the gaskets, the shim buckets, the whatever else fucking I need.
Everything you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll be set for the next 77 years of Aprilia ownership after this.
Sure.
So, yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You probably get away with one valve adjustment
Or 5,000 miles.
or 10,000
No,
miles,
they're
whichever comes first.
12,000 miles.
Yeah.
12,024. So
Yeah, I do. I reserve a special hell in my memory bank for every Aprilia valves that I've ever done.
yeah, no, it's not going to be fun.
it's not fun.
But then I have Dr. Ducati going to help me. So at least
That's worth it.
Yeah.
That right there, having Mark in your back pocket is a very, very
Don't
nice
get me
thing.
wrong. I'm going to be doing the work.
You'll be doing the work, but
But
you've
his
got,
eyeballs are going to be.
he's going to be keeping you from making the expensive mistakes.
Yes.
Right.
That's
You
exactly
won't have
it.
to glue that motor together when you're done with it.
No.
Yeah, you'll just bolt it together one time.
Yes.
Yep. And I'll tell you, I'm sure Mark will tell you this too, but man, 7 or 8 heat cycles and then go back and tighten everything again.
Oh, no. Dude, you know Mark.
I know Mark. Yeah.
He's got torque wrenches. The torque wrench is
Micro
torque wrench.
Yeah. Right. Here's a stack up the torque wrenches.
Yeah.
You torqued and torqued and torqued. Well, we heard you like torque wrenches. That's a pretty good thing.
Torque.
Man, it's something that I have not had the Superbike bug in a long time.
See, I got it bad, dude. I'm already the new Ducati, just a Street Fighter, the 2025 Street Fighter dropped.
Just be careful, man.
Yeah, we don't want to lose you for some dumb shit that you
I'm
should.
going to tracks. I'm going to tracks next
Yeah, I
year.
get it.
That could happen there too.
Yeah,
but
it does.
There's not as many trees to hit, though.
That's true.
So
Or
good thing you sold
guardrails.
that KZ900, right?
Right?
Well, you know what it was? That was uncomfortable for me. I think that's what I figured it out. I couldn't ride it. I couldn't ride it for more than an hour.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody wants
I
a
get that.
really fast bike that doesn't require a lot of expensive maintenance.
Yeah. I like the Italian horse.
It was an impressive bike to ride, though.
Dude, it gets better.
It's cool. I mean, it is super cool. It's absolutely right.
Is there any way you think you can get some more power out of it?
Actually, I did just get, so the upmap thing, I had one free tune left. So now with the SC pipe I put on it, with
So you had a bonus tune hiding,
Yeah.
so you could retune for that pipe.
I could retune for that pipe.
Nice.
So I
Good
put a
job.
full titanium pipe on it. And
Yeah.
now with that, I should be able to hit about 198 horsepower.
Right.
Oh, God.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel the exact same way.
But you're done with crazy fast bikes,
yeah, I don't
right?
need fast bikes anymore, man.
But I'm being responsible with it.
That's about 140, 50, 160 horsepower more than that.
It's a whole fucking lot. Yeah,
It's
that
fun,
is a
though.
lot, especially on a lightweight fun bike like
Marshall knows. He listens. I'm surprised he's not on. He likes his too, man.
Yeah,
They're fun
well,
bikes. And they ride like a normal bike until you don't want them to.
that. That's right. And that's the
I will say that it wasn't awful to just ride it until you crack the throttle and then just holy shit.
Oh, that Multistrada I was riding around for 2 years. You could ride it like a normal bike. And
Was
it
that
didn't
a
matter what
V4 or
mode you put it
V2?
in.
Was
What's
it
that?
4 or 2?
It's 2.
Okay.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what mode you put it in. It's 1200.
Oh, yeah.
And you just drive it like a normal human.
That's 169 plus
It's 155 horsepower.
Or 155.
Yeah, 155.
It's no
give or
joke.
take.
That's a
no, it's
mean
no
bike.
joke.
Yeah.
And when you drive it like a normal human, it drives like a normal human bike.
Yep.
But when you crack it, then all things, scary things happen.
To be 100% honest, though, like, you have all these YouTube dudes out there that are like drag racing on 271 doing 180.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm into at all. No. Like I like to go from 30 to 60 really fast in a turn. You know what I mean? Like I'm not really interested in the top speed of the bikes or anything like that. So
we have a new $5 Patreon member, and I love this one. Dr. Wobstaqua.
yeah.
It's
easy for you to say.
It's spelled exactly like it sounds. It's Dr. Wobstaqua.
That's my new favorite name,
Dr. Wobstaqua
Is he from
just
Maine?
became, I would only assume Dr. Wobstaqua just became a $5 member. So thank you, Dr. Wobstaqua, for rocking out. That is super, super cool. We appreciate that. That is a good thing.
Audio Vector says with ultrasonic cleaners,
Yes.
there is no reason to undo a rack of carbs.
No, you're absolutely right. He's absolutely right. If your ultrasonic cleaner is big enough to drop a whole rack in, that's a problem. So a lot of people have the consumer grade Home Depot, JC Whitney, Hazard Fraught parts cleaners, parts washers, and they're a little too small. You can get generally 2 carbs in there, but not 4.
Well, Asukuro says that's a good idea if you have a big enough one.
Right. Yeah, well, because Oscar knows his
Wait,
deal.
Tell me
Right.
more about this because my GS 850 needs the carbs clean, and that's
Right.
about a rack about that.
Well, what I have to say is more important than that.
Go ahead, John.
So if you have a rack of carbs and you have a puny little ultrasonic cleaner, well, first of all, usually you can get most of the carbs in there, or at least the float bowls, or take all the bits out and ultrasonic clean all that stuff. But if you can't, and you probably won't be able to get a whole full rack in your ultrasonic cleaner, go to the auto parts store. On the bottom shelf over where they sell the carb cleaner, they sell the gallon can of carburetor cleaner. Now, this is a different beast altogether.
Dip.
It's a dip. It's a carb dip.
Berryman.
Berryman's have various different brands, but it comes in a gallon. It's usually like $25 or whatever. But don't worry, fret not. It lasts a long time. You can use that 1 gallon can on several sets of carbs. I made a can last me fucking 10 years. Hell, I was using that stuff. The cool thing about it is it just eats the shit out of the carbs. It won't hurt the carbs. It gets them really nice and clean, and it's water soluble. It's like really strong pine sol or something like that. But it's cool. You dip half the rack in, flip it over, dip half the rack. Heck, you can let them soak for a day or two. It doesn't really hurt the carbs. Get them out, take them down to a wash tub or outside and hose them off really good with a garden hose or something. They'll look like brand new. Now you're still going to want to go through them with some carb cleaner, blow out every single little passage with carb cleaner, then with air, then carb cleaner again. Make sure you see it goes in and goes out everywhere it's supposed to goes in and goes out. And yeah, I used to love that shit. That's what I used wholeheartedly before I had an ultrasonic cleaner. And if I had a situation where my carbs wouldn't fit in my ultrasonic, I'd go get a can of that stuff.
Can you fill your ultrasonic cleaner with the carb?
That's a question I've always had. I started using purple power degreaser because that's what I had. Very effective, but it will fuck up your carbs if you forget and leave them in there.
Help on that.
It will fuck your carbs up if you forget and leave it in it. You might want to tone it down with something more like Simple Green or something, but probably not as effective as that purple power. But yes, I think that would be a very interesting combination, is that good carb cleaner in the gallon pail, and then throw that in your ultrasonic. And I can't imagine it doing a better job anywhere else.
So at the shop, we have a 30 liter. So to put that in perspective, that's big.
You could get in it.
It's big. Yeah, it's big. It's, 30 liters is what, 7 gallons, 8 gallons?
7.5.
Right? Yeah. So it's pretty monstrous. And the companies, pretty much no matter who you're buying, you're going to be buying it from Vevor, Vevor. And I will promise you that Vevor is not part of the space program. They're not good. Okay. To buy a really good ultrasonic, you're going to get something from the medical industry. You're going to get something from the jewelry industry.
I'm trying to get Peggy
dental
to
industry.
gaff one from one of the dental offices. Like, isn't there an old ultrasonic sitting in the basement that they don't use anymore?
Yeah. And so I did think that I would do my due diligence as an adult and throw money at the problem and buy a Vevor heated ultrasonic, all the good things. And when you read the reviews on some of these and you're like, wow, still vibrates, doesn't heat, right?
Okay, so the heat is the thing I will say about the heat. Heat is effective.
Yep.
Heat also will make your carbs turn black, though.
It sure will.
There's discoloring that will occur
Right.
if you heat the solution.
Sometimes, like with products like Metal Rescue, the black color that you're seeing on there isn't a problem. It's just an oxidation that does protect it. It's not that bad for it. What we have learned is...
I'm always fond, though, of being able to bring the carbs back and get the cadmium rainbow out of them and make them look like brand
new.
fucking new.
Yeah, brand new.
So Audio Vector says, I've done a 4-set dirty carb cleaning in the gallon cans too.
Yep.
And then he also says the good old times.
You can...
And you can use that shit, too, for like cleaning up your hub. Take a paintbrush, put a little bit in the thing, clean up your hubs, degrease shit and stuff like that.
Berryman's, get yourself a stainless steel pan. Cooking stuff works great. So if you have cooking stuff, if you have a bread pan that is bigger than your carburetors, pour the Berryman's in that. And then you can immerse your carbs in that. You don't need to keep it in the 1 gallon can. Sometimes the form factor of what you're soaking them in really leads a lot to the effectiveness of what you got going on.
The can always comes with the strainer can inside it too.
It's got a little dipping tray in there. It's pretty rad. Smells like old Band-Aids. It's got a particular odor to it that I'm not fond of at all.
Yeah.
But what we did was we bought the Vevor Ultrasonic, the big monster. And then within a week or two, you could have your choice of heat or vibration, but not at the same time. So the internal circuitry would just shunt it out. But for $25, I bought an immersion heater because I'm fond of those.
Yeah.
So I bought an immersion heater and dropped an immersion heater into it, which has a digital program. So I could program the immersion heater to be whatever temperature I wanted it to be, and then run my ultrasonic with the stuff in it. Works great.
Probably more accurate.
Way more accurate.
Yeah.
Way more accurate and exactly what you want to do. Yeah. And so you're asking about chemicals. Believe it or not, I hate to say it, best chemicals in the world, water and vinegar. Water and vinegar seems to work fantastic on everything.
Douche them.
Yep, douche them. A little bit of Simple Green and a whole lot of water because it's the vibrations that are doing the work. It's not the chemicals.
Have you tried Dawn dish
There's
detergent?
Dawn dish soap.
That does really well with grease.
It does a great job on the greasy stuff because the heat and the vibration together really do a better job. And I've seen people, like John was saying, ruin anything that is cast by putting in straight Simple Green. Bet you didn't know that when you buy a can of Simple Green and it's got the sprayer on it, read the can carefully. It says concentrate on it. You're supposed to take that home, cut it 4-1, 5-1, 6-1 before you go spraying things with it, or it will take your skin off your fingers in no time flat. Sometimes the product, when it says concentrated on it, means that you need to cut it when you get it home. Don't go spraying it directly out of the bottle because that stuff's pretty hot.
What's the active stuff in
Simple Green? I have no idea.
Huh.
But it will take your finger. It will take, if you're using Simple Green, You buy it for $5 for the spray bottle. It says concentrate. You don't thin it out. You just run it the way it is. You will lose your fingerprints, and your fingers are going to hurt. It does a number on you.
Well, do you think
Audio
it'll take away-
Vector also says Vivor 30L Black Friday deal on site we shall not mention. Black Friday deal on the Vivor.
Oh yeah. That is going on right now. That's usually retailed out at $269 on sale for $229. If you buy one of these, there is the strongest chance that it will crap the bed. There's also a YouTube channel you can watch on how to deactivate the safeties in this thing, so it'll come back and work the way you want it to. But it is a safety thing that it essentially is protecting itself, and maybe you don't want that.
My little Harbor Freight jewelry cleaner. I mean,
Those are great.
It's worked great for a long time.
Ass time. Well, there's not a lot of stuff going on in there. Getting the heated one for the volume and stuff that we do at the shop.
But that one, mine's heated too. I mean, it's got
the little
heater.
ones are great. They're $50 and they rock the free world. They're absolutely good. For us, I needed to be able to put a rack of carbs in. I needed to be able to put some brake calipers in there. So I needed something that was large enough to be able to have those size items in it. And I've been dicking around with like 2 small parts washers for a long time. It's nice to have a big, good size one. And that's that 30-liter job. Yeah, that is a Black Friday
Plus,
deal.
you
right
got
now.
about that 240-pound parts washer that's not here today.
Yeah, right. Well,
Tom, go grab your toothbrush.
right. Yeah. That's it. If you do a lot, get one of those proper parts washer.
Yeah.
You get a proper parts washer that's got a nozzle with a brush on it. You make some good time.
Yeah.
You clean a lot of stuff real fast with that.
Yeah.
And like John says, you can recycle those chemicals about 9,000 times. I think we had the same stuff in our first batch for like 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. It doesn't go bad. Just filter more of the crap out of it.
Yeah.
Throw a green scratch pad in the bottom of the drain and catch all the particulate matter and get rid of it.
Yep.
Pretty cool stuff. Anybody else got anything else?
Yeah, I think we would be remiss if we did not mention the passing of one Malcolm Smith.
That is right. Malcolm Smith has finally freed himself of this mortal coil.
How old was he?
Like 82 or 84. Or
Oh,
something.
really? I thought he was like like.
Wasn't he married to Liz Taylor?
Not to my knowledge.
No. Who was the millionaire she was married to that turned all of his money into Harley Davidson? That guy. Probably not him. Never mind. Malcolm Forbes. Sorry,
Unaware.
Forbes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Forbes.
Also, Motorcycle Mary. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
Mary McNeil
Mary
died
McNeil.
like yesterday.
Yep.
Today or yesterday.
I saw something about that, but I didn't recognize that. I don't remember her.
Yeah, they Motorcycle Mary McGee.
McGee.
Yeah, Motorcycle Mary McGee. Racing pioneer and profiled in the documentary Motorcycle Mary. So yeah, she also passed. Yep.
Hold on. Let me double check something coming. Yeah.
And this coming in
that's
from
it. Okay, so America has now gone over and we are going to Europe. And this is such a crazy fucking thing that I can't believe this happened in the course of 4 years.
Okay.
Next year, MotoGP will feature a baggers class.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. Okay.
I mean, it was very popular here, but I didn't think it was going to fly in Europe, though.
But
And the
you
rest
have to take a look at how many of the MotoGP races, right? Because there are more and more happening here.
Well, they're down. Well, they used to have 3, and then
Right.
they have 1 again.
Yeah.
So maybe they're going to bring more
They
back.
might, to have a bagger class, it's going to be a weird thing when you're like in, Dubai.
Spain or
Spain.
Dubai, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Europe races sidecars and they race like full-size semi-trucks,
Right.
know,
Yeah,
and
right.
all
Sure.
kinds of weird shit. So
Yeah.
I can see
A
the
lot of weird
baggers, like, having
categories.
some appeal over
Yeah,
that.
That's
maybe
true,
so.
right? They race semi trucks. Yeah, it's exactly right.
But
So-
I mean, if it gets us MotoGP back here for more than one thing, I'm all for. That's great. I'm not mad about that. But I just thought that was interesting that they're really like it. It blew up, man. It took 5 years from going from a stock bagger to now being a MotoGP level class of racing.
and as we talked about, you can buy the bagger class Indian
yeah, for like
that
$80,000
is
or something.
ready to rock and roll, ready
Yeah.
to put on the track.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was amazed by that.
That's
I was
fine. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
anything to promote everything. So And then I do have another call. So with the track, the Lorraine track guy for the small stuff, I'm going back and forth, obviously with the holiday, whatever things, but next week I'll have another talk to him. So I'm going to really try to get him on the podcast in the next couple of weeks so we can talk about him because he's very interested in hearing your experience with running scooters.
I would
and things
love
like
to
that.
run a class out there. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. So anyways,
The more the merrier,
Right.
because that's the whole thing. Do you know, Flat Out Friday, Mama Tried shows, all that stuff where they were racing on polished concrete with Coke syrup.
oh yeah,
You did that.
yes,
Super fun.
it was awesome. It
Right.
was tiring as fuck, but super fun.
You're working your ass off.
Yes.
And you wouldn't think so.
No,
And you're out there on a mini bike.
you try to hold your foot out in front of you while going 40 miles an hour
For about
on
half an
a
hour.
flat piece of cement with
Tastes like
Coke
tequila.
syrup. It was a trip, man. It was fun though.
Dan, is that tequila in the Jello shots?
The green one?
Yeah, okay, the green one.
He's got a map.
That's the margarita.
Okay,
Yeah,
I thought it was
green one
tequila.
pretty solid.
Yeah.
The
Dan
green,
shows
the green Jello shots are pretty delicious.
Wait, look. He has a key, a map to the
He does
key
have a
for
key.
the
I like
colors
that.
of what they're
and
drinking.
I like that it's printed out.
Yeah.
That's very much a
Shout
crown.
out to Mark and Diane Goldfarb for providing the Jello shots.
Providing the Jello shots for tonight's podcast.
Leftovers from their Halloween party.
Yep, absolutely.
Good enough for me.
Sleepy's going to be working by the time this drops out to the regular listeners. By the time it gets edited, we did some shooting. So just to let people know, we went out, we busted some birds, and we had some fun. Super good time. Went out and did what we do best. We realized that John is extremely dangerous with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Extremely dangerous.
I don't know. Huggy was right up there.
But
with me.
Huggy, when the chips were down and it came down to the true shoot off,
Yeah.
the fact that these guys went into double elimination overtime between the two of them, and then they both literally failed to start.
Yeah.
They both shot shit on their first bird in the double elimination competition.
Oh, yeah.
Which forced it into the third round. The stress was palpable.
You know, and it was great. Like
I didn't even get a shot up. I forgot to click my safety.
Yeah, your safety was
I'm
still on.
But even before the contest, though, you were rocking them, and I brought a bunch of cameras
Right.
and so we tried a bunch of different things with the cameras. I got some insane shots with you doing the single-handed shot at the thing with the 360 cam
camera.
on
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
I had an angle where somehow I'm above you.
Oh, that's
looking
great.
down
Perfect.
Because the camera was on the top of the gun, so it's
Yeah.
going to be
That's
like
super
A little bit.
slick, man.
It was cool, man.
Yeah, we had a good time.
I'm taking time with this one. I apologize. It's going to take a week or so, but I think it's going to be worth it. So
I think it is.
Did you shoot the drone that you
he
wanted to
did,
get?
yeah. He shot about 8 times at it.
Yeah.
Did it go down?
No, I wasn't trying to shoot the damn thing.
Oh no, I didn't. We didn't. My battery died.
I thought
for
that
the
was
big
one of the things you were
No,
going to
the
do.
He
big
didn't
one-
put the heavy lift drone up.
No, we
He
didn't do
wasn't
anything
flying
crazy.
targets for us
Yeah, it
like
was-
he should have been.
Well, here's the thing: we weren't sure we were allowed to shoot because it said it was closed. So I wasn't going to bring a bunch of potentially illegal FAA kind of shit to shoot down at the thing.
Yeah, when we were stacking up
breaking the
felonies, we
law.
figured having the felonies stacked just knee high was probably a good idea.
I can say though that
Yeah.
after we went to dinner, because my dumbass rode there,
Yeah.
and then the sun went down, it was like 32 degrees.
I know it got chilly once we quit shooting.
But it's just around the corner from your house.
You're right.
Yeah,
Just
at that
just
point.
around
So
the
by the
corner.
time I got home, I think I repuberated. Like my testicles puberated. My testicles were up by my.
So you had to
nipples.
wait for them to drop again, is what you're saying?
It was.
What were you riding? What did you ride?
Africa Twin.
Okay.
but
He
then
shows up like he normally does. Africa Twin, shotgun, tons of ammo. All of his gear, all the birds.
Chair.
Like,
I don't even
chair,
think you
camp
got your
chair.
gun out. Did you even fire your shoot?
Oh yeah, I
your
went
shot?
through like a little box.
there was one gun that never got fired. By the way,
We have proof. His shotgun's right there.
Yeah,
The
it is.
shotgun's
He
there.
brought it back.
You can smell it.
Yeah.
There was one shotgun that got put on the table, and it never got fired.
Yeah.
And at the end, when we were cleaning
It
up,
was left.
it was still on the table. And I was like, hey, somebody forgot their shotgun. Did somebody forget their shotgun? What the hell, man? There's this perfectly good Mossberg 500 sitting
Real
on the
nice,
table.
real nice gun.
And it turns out it was one I got from John.
That you forgot.
Oh.
And I put it out for people to use, in case you didn't have a shotgun, here's an extra shotgun to use.
Yeah.
And nobody used it because nobody knew who it was or whatever.
Right.
It's like the
So-
missing man formation.
It was a missing man formation. And so I was like, okay, so I'd loaded, my 5 or 6 shotguns into my truck.
Yeah.
And so Sleepy's like, that's the most American thing ever. When you're loading up after shooting and you have an extra shotgun that you don't recognize.
Not a shoe. Not like
Not a hat.
No, not
Not
ear,
an extra
not
folding
ear,
camp chair.
Not your earmuffs or anything like
Right.
that.
Somebody
Just
forgot
an
the
entire
earmuffs.
weapon.
An entire shotgun. and a perfectly good cromulent shotgun.
So you guys killed a lot of pigeons.
We did.
Did pretty good.
We did a really good job. I think it was
Most of them didn't get away.
Here's an interesting fact about pigeons. You know that pigeons die after they have sex?
Mm-hmm.
At least the one that Cinch fucked did.
But okay, that aside, you know, this year was different though because we didn't discuss.
Wait. Let's let that set in.
I like the fuck pigeons. What's the problem? I don't understand the problem is. No, but did it not? It was.
But
different.
seriously, has Amy caught you fucking one of the chickens yet?
No. I'm very sneaky. But it changed everything. They cut down all the trees where we shoot.
Right, yeah.
And so like, the depth perception was fucked.
Yeah, it's a little different because you don't have the trees behind you to give you
Nope.
contrast against the birds. Yeah.
That messed me up a little
It is
bit.
a little different.
They're doing something there because I took the drone way out there and there's like, you know, there's tracks and removed trees and all kinds of shit.
It took me exactly 1 day after shooting to buy the wobble adapter for my bird thrower. So the bird thrower now is going to pitch the birds in a random fashion.
Oh.
So instead of doing what it does now, which is throws a predictable,
Yeah.
perfect same bird all the time, which does make it pretty easy.
Yeah.
Now you're not sure where it's going to go.
That's one of the things that you see on sporting clays
Yeah.
is the wobble.
The wobble. And so I bought the wobble adapter for our thing.
That's
Putting
a-
our Patreon money to good work.
Thank you.
That's
That
it.
manual one step that I have, it at least it does that. Like
It does.
It throws it sort of the same place, but depending on how you put it, and then it kind of walks and
Yeah.
stuff. Like
How you load it
When
makes
you
a
did-
You can't always rely on that predictable shit.
When you did 2 at one time, they were going all over the fucking place.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, when you throw doubles out of his thing,
Yeah.
it is weird.
Yeah, that was fun though.
Yeah. For the one I'm using, if you want to do a double, what you do is you get it staged and you put a bird on.
Yeah.
So you put a bird on, and then it automatically feeds a bird, and then they come out on a spread. So
Yeah.
you get one at 2 o'clock and one at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, mine's easier because it sends
Yeah.
them both out, and one high,
stack
one
'em.
low. So you shoot the low and then shoot the high.
Right. Yeah. You
I
stack
like
'em.
my favorite part of the day though was like basically playing what is it the Apple game with John. So I went to find Dan's like I gotta go pee, so I'm droning and I'm like I'm gonna go fucking find Dan pee and just be a dick. So I went down there and then John's walking down and he holds up his hands.
Right,
He's
he
like
holds his
this.
hands in a
I'm
circle.
doing like 40 miles an hour. And I'm just like, right to his head. It was
you
awesome.
did Johnny Appleseed. You definitely shot the gap with your drone.
It was difficult for me not to flint. I'm like, oh, fuck, don't move.
Right. Yeah.
Because you can't move.
No, you
like,
can't. No.
He's either going to make this. I trusted you a lot more than I should have probably. But
Yeah, you probably
No, I
did.
was right middle, right dead.
I felt it go across my fucking head, though. I'm like,
I
whoa.
would say it was more William Tell than Johnny
It's
Appleseed.
no big deal. It's just
that was it.
It's just 4 propellers spinning at 23,000 RPM
At 40 miles an hour.
at 40 miles an hour towards your face.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
John Trump. See, look, we got it. We did good. This is fine.
It's a flying.
I didn't think you'd try it if you didn't think you could do it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It is a flying Cuisinart.
Yeah.
Just looking for something to eat. That's all it is, man.
It was fun,
that is
though.
it. So anybody else got anything else?
I think we're good.
Okay, well, Sleepy and I are going to be going to Vegas.
Yep.
We're going to be going February 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, whatever it's the AIM Expo. Dan's going to be joining us. He's going to be out there at the SHOT Show a couple of weeks before, Pimp and Gun stuff. And then we're going to be there. And then what's the bonus feature is that weekend, instead of just going for the AIM Expo, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're staying on for the One Expo, the One Moto Show, which will be downtown Vegas at the old, I believe the Western, what used to be a casino is now it's a parking deck.
Well, and if we're going to be there, if anybody's listening, it's going to be at the One Show.
Right.
Let
Come
us
see
know,
us, man.
yeah.
See us roaming around.
I was getting kind of.
Moto Show.
I was kind of thinking about that, but
Yeah.
it's my operating week, and I can't really take time off.
Yeah, we're gonna do a room at the Hampton for the stuff that's at the convention center, and then we're gonna get a more reasonably priced room downtown.
I'm okay with just being homeless for the weekend too. I'm fine
That's
with
also
that.
fun.
Yeah,
Right?
I
It's
don't
super
mind.
fun, and there's all kinds of cool stuff we get to do. Go to the Golden Tiki Room and do all kinds of fun shit.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
It's going to be good.
I tend to have a pretty good time when we're in Las Vegas. There's a lot of good stuff.
Oscar should come out.
Oscar should come out.
That would be a
Jesus
great
Christ, that'd be
opportunity
a
for
great
Oscar to
opportunity.
come and hang out.
Flights to Vegas are cheap from virtually everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep, they are.
Oscar,
that'd be
calling you
really
out,
fun.
bud.
Calling you out, Oscar. Yeah. Oscar knows how to have fun in Vegas.
That's right.
In fact, Sunday we can go out to that amazing flea market.
Oh, man.
And so if you've never been to Las Vegas flea market, that is a sight to behold.
I'm in.
I will get my heavy duty elotes fix going on right there. So that's it. Anybody else got anything else? Fuck, man.
No joke, Smith?
Nope, got nothing.
That's what Pete gave you earlier.
That's true.
All right, if that's all there is, my friends, remember to ride fast and take chances. Play us out of here, Johnny Mac.
Bum 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 bum.